94.5 FM. Jason Minix, the Blitz.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. It's Monday. Might also be my Friday and everything in between. And, man, do we have a lot to get to today. You want to be a part of the show, you can always dial up the Kia Boston Bacon phone lines, 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776, or on Twitter. Tweet at me at Jason Minix. You can tweet at James Pledger at I Am Pledger. The Dallas Cowboys, the game of the year, and guess what? It did not live up to the hype. The Cowboys offense doesn't even score a damn touchdown. The defense holds Patrick Mahomes to 19 points, and they lose. That's just the way we all drew it up, right? I mean, and the reaction has been, quite frankly, interesting. You know, I know there's a pocket of Cowboy fans that just think, oh, no, man, this team is garbage, and Dak needs to be traded away. Can we get Taysom Hill? He just got a new deal that makes absolutely no sense to me, but whatever. And then there's a whole bunch of Cowboy fans, and I think I'm in this category. They got beaten a game that ultimately doesn't matter in the long run. And it really doesn't. That was an AFC team. All the things that I said following the loss to Denver apply to the Kansas City loss. And the Raiders game coming up on Thanksgiving, on Thursday. A loss to an AFC team at this point in the season isn't that big of a deal. It would have been a nice win for the Cowboys. Statement win, we talked about it. I mean, we don't know where Kansas City's at right now. I mean, they played one game this year where they look like the Kansas City Chiefs that we thought we were going to see. Then you look at Amari Cooper comes in with COVID. He doesn't play. He won't be available for Thursday either because he's unvaccinated. Then they lose CeeDee Lamb. They ended up not going with Tyron Smith. Why? Because in the big picture of things, it wasn't worth risking Tyron Smith. This is the game you needed your edge rushers, but you still got to Mahomes three times, even forced a sack fumble because Micah Parsons is a beast. You want to talk about the Cowboys? Feel free. Let's do it. 656 ESPN, 656-3776. You can always get me on Twitter at Jason Minix. Pledger is on Twitter at I Am Pledger. James Pledger, who is producing as always. I spent a lot of time this weekend with James Pledger, more than I legally should be allowed.
That's true.
Because we tailgated at the UTSA game, and I was able to ditch him for a while at the game. And then we met up at Pinkerton's barbecue, and he gave the man the biggest assist he could have because he was in that Pinkerton's line, I don't know, long before I was able to park the car. And I get there, walk right up, and you were making that turn at the line, so we got to eat right away.
Yep.
It was great.
That's what a good wingman does. He's there for the assist.
Absolutely. And then I tell James Pledger, I got this. And all of a sudden, you know, you were ahead of me in the line. You paid for your own dinner. I was buying everybody dinner. I was feeling really good at the end of that game.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, at Pinkerton's, that's a big bite of apple to pay for a couple of people's meal.
It is.
Especially when you eat the way I do.
Well, you had enough on your plate for three. And all I was thinking was, James Pledger is going to eat for a week because James Pledger, I don't know what all you had on your plate. I saw you order one of those beef dino ribs, which takes 3 days to eat. Saw you order some other brisket, some sausage, some, this or that. I mean, you had a little bit of everything. And look, I understand that. That's one of the, is that a problem? You go in there and your eyes are bigger than your belly. And that is a great place to do it. I've been to Pinkerton so many times now. I've learned how to order. Like I'm getting my brisket in the baller mac and cheese. Mm-hmm. Then I'm getting some of those candy painted pork ribs. If I get a dino rib, it's that. Because that dino rib, that was
fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fantastic down there. It's incredible. I saw somebody kind of trashed Pinkertons in the paper.
What?
One of those food reviews. And I was like, yeah, dude, I've been to Pinkertons enough, and it's always consistent, right? In a barbecue place, in any restaurant, you want consistency, but especially in a barbecue place, you want consistency. And I'm thinking, I don't know what this guy thinks is good barbecue if whatever. I mean, Pinkertons has become my favorite barbecue joint in San Antonio. It's up there, man.
I'll tell you this. That was my first live experience with Pinkertons. You've bought me stuff secondhand that I've had to eat later.
When I'm down there at, like, say, lunch.
Yeah.
I've brought you food there. It's not secondhand. It's not like,
Well, I don't know if you got it from the table next to you or not. It might be secondhand.
Yeah, it sounds like I got you a used pair of shoes or something. I got that secondhand brisket over here from my boy Pledge.
I mean, I don't know where you got it, but I know you got it, and it was delicious then. But this is the first time I've had it like steaming, piping hot right out of the smoker, basically.
Pit.
And
yep.
oh,
you stood in line, you got it, you had the overall experience.
and
Following
that mac
an incredible,
and cheese. Oh.
I'm telling you, that baller mac and cheese is the way to go. Incredible game for UTSA, which was your first ever UTSA game. You picked a good one to go to for your first one. Although there for a while, maybe not. But isn't that
Rudy
the
was trying
beauty?
to kick me out before the game even started. We walked in, they were down 7-0. He was like, "Go home."
So you got there late, huh? You stayed
Well,
in the
I was
parking
in
lot
the
a little bit
ticket
too?
window getting my tickets.
Well, wait, we all went through the security line together.
Yep. It was 7-0 by the
happened?
time me and Rudy J entered the building.
Oh, because you guys didn't buy your tickets in advance.
Truth.
You wanted to go buy them at the ticket window.
Yes.
I got you. So we went through security together, and I went in, and you guys had to go stand in another line.
And that's a mistake I won't make again.
Absolutely. You know what, though? In past, for UTSA games, that would have been just fine. I mean, the reality is getting through security, getting through all of it, because we had 35,000 people show up at that game. And based on everything that I've seen on Twitter, 140,000 were in the Alamo Dome. And there were people that left early.
No, there weren't.
But yeah, there were. Yeah, there were.
Not according to Twitter.
According to Twitter, the Alamo Dome has a new capacity of 1.9 million. Because it seems like everybody was there, which is great. That's what we want. Now you look at, UTSA's on the road this week. They've got to focus, take care of business against North Texas to keep that undefeated season going, because that's what they're playing for now. They've got a spot in that Conference USA championship game. So now their goal, and we'll ask Jeff Traylor, how important is an undefeated perfect season? I mean, North Texas would love to hand UTSA their first loss. And if they did, we'd say it doesn't matter, man. They're still in the championship game. I don't imagine anybody gets a rest day for UTSA against North Texas, but we'll ask Jeff Traylor about that and see. And North Texas would like to give them a loss. I believe, looking at the record, UTSA could go up there and keep North Texas from going bowling. And I believe North Texas is the biggest rivalry for UTSA. And it certainly is this week. But that championship game was something else. I mean, that was an incredible football game to be at. And you think about this UTSA team that we have gotten to know this year and this city has fallen in love with. It was all on display in that game. Things didn't go well initially. They never quit. They never folded their tent. They battled back. The UAB coach made a decision that will keep him up for a long, long time. You just picked up 9 yards or so on a run. It's 4th and inches, and I thought that was a crap spot to begin with. The refs were bad all game, but you decide to punt. Now, that is what that coach always does. He punts. He believes in his defense. I get it. UTSA marches down the field. Some very smart play. Got your big play initially. You got a player that made a catch, got out of bounds because they had no timeouts. Then just the way they draw it up, bad snap. Frank Harris doesn't put his knee on the ground to pick up the ball, which was incredible. Then you throw it off of the UAB linebacker into the hands of your tight end, Cardenas. I mean, it was just the way they drew it up. Incredible game. Incredible game. Again, Jeff Traylor will join us at 6 o'clock. At 6:15, we'll talk with Eric Morris, the head football coach of your Southland Conference outright champion, UIW Cardinals. They are hosting a playoff game this Saturday, 2 o'clock at Benson Stadium. Pack the nest is what they're saying. And all the love for UTSA is well-deserved, but you think about the football that's being played, the college football being played in San Antonio. Congrats to Trinity on an incredible season. They came up short in their playoff game this week against Mary Hardin Baylor, which is probably going to win the whole thing in Division III. Their only loss of the year. UIW, they host a really good Stephen F. Austin team coming up Saturday. And I know for UIW and how FCS works that you put in a bid to host playoff games. That stadium holds 6,000. Get a ticket and go. UTSA is on the road. You still got that football fever. And what I'm concerned about for UIW, it's Thanksgiving week. I hope their students decide to come back on Friday night or on Saturday morning to go to the game and watch Cam Ward and that football team play. That's the one thing that always worries about a home game. And I know I'm having to do it for my daughter. She wants to go. My daughter's at Arizona State right now. She wants to go see Arizona State play Arizona in their big rivalry game, right? So she flies in tomorrow for Thanksgiving, and then we're flying her home on Friday so she can go to a football game on Saturday. When your daughter says, I want to go to a game, yeah, you make sure she goes to a game, especially when it's a big rivalry game. And for her time at Arizona State, it's the first time they've hosted Arizona. So, I mean, I get it. I hope the students at UIW come back for this game coming up on Saturday. Big playoff game. Winner will get Sam Houston State the following week, and that's going to be on the road in Huntsville because the Bearcats are the number one ranked team in the country. They're the number one overall seed, so they don't have to. They don't have to get on it. Well, they don't have to get on a plane the entire playoff because the championship's in Dallas. I'm sure they'll just bus up I-45 for that thing. But you look at what's going on in college football right now. It is a glorious time. So while we celebrate 35,000 in the Dome for UTSA on Saturday, I know April Ann Sierra has led a charge through the business community to raise a bunch of money so students can get in free for the CUSA championship game on Friday, December 3rd, because students don't get free tickets for that. So if you're a business owner, it's all over Twitter. You could find a way to put some money up so that every student that wants to go can get there. And man, with that, I hope we can get 50,000, 65,000 for a championship game. That would be incredible. But do the same for UIW. I promise you, if you haven't watched UIW play this year, if you haven't gone to a game or watched them on TV, that is a fun football team to watch. Kevin Brown, the running back, Cam Ward, their quarterback is an incredible athlete. They've got some players on defense that, I mean, it's just, like I said, fun football to watch. And that's what's great about what's going on. So here's what you do. You go tailgate at Benson Stadium, go to the game, and then after the game, walk around the UIW campus for the Light the Way deal. You know how they always decorate the Incarnate Word campus for Christmas with all the lights? That's a great Saturday. Weather is supposed to be fantastic. And if you're a Longhorn fan, that's a nice distraction from having to pay attention to what the hell is going on up in Austin. They lost again to West Virginia. 5 in a row. Are you kidding? No bowl for the Texas Longhorns. The good news, Bijan says he's coming back next year. What are you saying, Pledge? You got a microphone. I don't know why you're mouthing stuff. Dude, that's great news. That is great news.
It just feels like another year. It feels a lot like Sam Ehlinger, like another year of wasted talent.
You know what? I want to see what Sark can do in the offseason. I want, the people that haven't bought in, they're going to be gone. That was a guy that we thought in September, Bijan was going to win a Heisman Trophy when we thought Texas was going to be good. And when they were up 38-20 on Oklahoma, we were thinking that guy was going to win a Heisman Trophy. And Texas has gone bad. He's gotten hurt. I'm glad he plans on coming back. He's not hitting the portal. He's not doing anything else. He's going to be back on the 40 acres. I need some good news, Pledge. Wasted talent or not, I need that. Speaking of football, spring football is coming back. Now, we saw here in San Antonio what spring football can do with the San Antonio Commanders of the Alliance League. The USFL, and we've known that the USFL is coming back, and you still have the XFL. So we've got competing things going on, right? I was a little disappointed today that the USFL announced their 8 teams, and San Antonio is not in the mix. Now, they're very familiar names from the old USFL, from the Houston Gamblers to the New Jersey Generals to the Philadelphia Stars and the Tampa Bay Bandits and blah, blah, Pittsburgh Maulers. Yeah, you got all the, I mean, like literally, it's the same damn logos too. I was surprised that San Antonio wasn't on that list, especially knowing that Daryl Johnston is a big part of the front office part of the USFL. Now, he's there mainly because the USFL is owned, I don't know the percentage, by Fox Sports, and all the games are going to be on Fox. And Daryl, he gets a paycheck from Fox. We'll talk to Daryl Johnston about the Cowboys coming up at 5:30. We'll also talk to him about the USFL. Now, I've heard that the XFL, that's now owned by The Rock, is very, very interested in San Antonio. But I don't know how far that ball has moved down the field. I don't know how deep talks have actually been with the city and the XFL and all the things that they're going to do. But we do know spring football can work and has worked with the right funding. You know, the XFL looked like they were going to make it, and then COVID knocked them out. The Alliance, well, we all know that story. And then you look, okay, you got the XFL and Rock. All he's got to do is put out 3 bad movies, and he can fund the thing for a decade. And you look at Fox Sports, if they're behind the USFL, you know, you've got that kind of backing with an ownership stake in it. It might be able to work. It's just got to be able to last through the first season. Then you get through the second season, and then you have something that you can hang on to. I hope San Antonio ends up, I guess now with an XFL team, since they didn't make the cut with the USFL, the United States Football League, where they just went back to the places they had before. But I'm looking at this going, how come these places will never learn? When you look at the Alliance and what we saw of the XFL, the cities that don't have an NFL team in them, the football-hungry cities that do not have an NFL team in them, did far better than those that did. I go back to the Alliance, and you think about Atlanta and say, you know, some of the teams that had NFL teams, they didn't draw as well, and they struggled in the front office with tickets and corporate sponsorships. The cities that didn't, going back to the Alliance, San Antonio, Birmingham,
Memphis.
San Diego, and Memphis. In the XFL, you had St. Louis did extremely well over there with the Battlehawks. I mean, you know, those football-hungry cities without an NFL team in them did well with ticket sales, did well with merchandise sales, did well with corporate sponsorships. And so what do I look at with this USFL? A lot of teams in NFL cities. I don't understand that part of the business plan. I don't. But we will talk about that coming up with Daryl Johnston. The Moose will join us at 5:30 as he does every week for Mondays with the Moose. Spring football will work. Hopefully one of these leagues can take a, what's the word I'm looking for? Make it through a season, right? Make it through one season, then get to an off season. But if they could get that root to grow a little bit, I mean, plant the seed, it's there. Water the soil, let that grow, and let it take hold with some good roots, and I think you'll be onto something. But when I think about, the Alliance, and we all know the XFL, COVID, I mean, spring football will work. I think about the spring football that was played last year in college. I mean, those college teams are getting exposure they hadn't had before. Fans were going out. They were watching. It was weird because it was college. It felt odd, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. So we'll see. But again, Daryl Johnston, the Moose, he will join us coming up at 5:30. We'll talk with RJ Ochoa at 5 o'clock, talk about what happened with the Dallas Cowboys yesterday. And then, of course, the quick turnaround to the Thanksgiving Day game coming up Thursday against the Las Vegas Raiders. The Houston Texans, boy, Pledge, I know you were thrilled yesterday that you beat your old team. I mean, you got that win, and you look good doing it against one of the better teams in the AFC, right?
They can't do anything right.
I mean, I mean, what do you mean?
They can't do anything right. You gained a half game the previous week on Detroit getting that tie, so you're right there. They're in that game late, so that one's close. You got a chance to possibly overtake the number 1 overall seed, and you go and blow it by winning.
Yeah, and boy, Detroit almost beat Cleveland. They realized, no, we're not supposed to win these things. Baker needs a break. Let's help Baker Mayfield out.
As he's being booed by the home fans.
Absolutely, that's what he was doing. But, man, the Texans looked good yesterday. They did. And, it meant something for those guys. They had lost 87 in a row. It was time for them to get a win against one of the better teams, which the NFL is just so weird this year. I know the NFL wants parity. And, man, are we seeing it. Are the Dallas Cowboys just awful after what happened yesterday? No. And I don't know what it is, but, if Dallas gets beat bad, so do the Buffalo Bills. And some of us may have predicted those teams being in the Super Bowl. Yet they both play like crap on the same day. What happened to the Bills yesterday? I don't know. I mean, it was bizarre. We'll talk NFL coming up as well. And the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs play the Phoenix Suns tonight. Phoenix, they've won 12 straight games. San Antonio has lost 4 straight and had a players-only meeting. Seems kind of early in the season for a players-only meeting. But after they got destroyed by Minnesota Saturday night, they had a players-only meeting. And according to Thad Young, it was Devin Vassell who organized the meeting, who after Pop walked out of the room after giving his post-game speech, second-year player Devin Vassell is the one that said, guys, we got to figure this crap out. And they all, according to Thad Young, aired their grievances. Thad Young talking today after shoot-around, and based on tweets from Jeff McDonald and what Tom Morsborn has at myusa.com, went into it. They talked about how they don't trust each other, and they got to develop that trust. They talked about the issues. Every player in there got to speak their mind of what was going on. But the fact that it was a second-year player, not Keldon Johnson, not DeJounte Murray, not the vet Thad Young, but again, Thad hasn't been here and he knows he's not going to be here. I don't know if I'm mortified or excited that it was Devin Vassell. Maybe he's more of a vocal leader than we thought. But clearly he does not want to be a part of a losing team, and he's not just okay with, well, we're young, we're going to learn and get better. Because you look at their 4-game losing streak, they're getting their ass kicked night in and night out. I mean, there for a while, they were losing tight games where they were in the fourth quarter and they would screw it up in the final 4 or 5 minutes learning how to win. Now they're getting blown out. That's one thing to get blown out in LA a couple of times. It's another to get blown out against Minnesota. And I appreciate the frustration with those players. And I find it very interesting that it is Devin Vassell leading the players-only meeting after a tough loss on a cold Minnesota night. No McBuckets tonight. McDermott's out with a knee injury. I don't know how much he'd matter against a steaming hot Phoenix Suns team. Crazy stuff. It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Peter Burns of the SEC Network will join us next. But first, if you deal with any kind of injury, especially this week, you get into that turkey bowl game in your backyard or in your street and you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need to know about Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries, and he has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. There's no reason to be in pain. If you're hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Learn more at TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com, or you can schedule your appointment by calling 210-804-5490. 804-5490. We'll get to visit with Peter Burns of the SEC Network as soon as James Pledger hits the music and gives us a Sports Center update.
Thanks, Jason. We'll start things off in the NFL, where the Dallas Cowboys have fallen to 7-3 on the year as they dropped their game in Kansas City against the Chiefs 19-9, their first game not scoring a touchdown this season. Dallas returns to action quickly as they get ready to welcome the Las Vegas Raiders into AT&T Stadium on Thanksgiving Day. The Houston Texans snapped their 8-game losing streak as they beat the best team in the AFC in a 22-13 win over the Tennessee Titans, improving to 2-8 on the season. In college football, the UTSA Roadrunners won the Conference USA West title over the weekend in a thrilling come-from-behind last-second 34-31 win over UAB. The Roadrunners swept the Conference USA Weekly Awards as Frank Harris was the Offensive Player of the Week after a 323-yard, 3-touchdown game that included the game winner with 3 seconds left. Clarence Hicks was the Defensive Player of the Week after his 3-tackle, 2-sack performance, and Hunter Duplessis was the Special Teams Player of the Week, going 2 for 2 on field goals with a long of 51. Incarnate Word won the Southland Conference title with a 55-14 win over Houston Baptist as Cam Ward threw for 314 yards in the score, and they'll welcome Stephen F. Austin into the next Saturday in the FCS playoffs. Remember, Coach Traylor and Coach Morris both join in the 6 o'clock hour. I'm James Pledger for San Antonio Sports Star.
ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
For nearly 30 years, Thomas J. Henry has fought day in and day out for every client we've had the honor of representing. In our town, in our community, we will always be the name you trust. Thomas J. Henry, available 24/7 nights and weekends. San Antonio, Texas.
O'Reilly. When you need auto parts, O'ReillyAuto.com is just a few clicks away. We offer convenient options for you to get your parts quickly. Order online and pick up for free at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. We'll even bring it out curbside. Or you can have your parts delivered right to your door with free shipping on most orders over $35. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply. Men over 40, is your body feeling soft and not as lean? Are you losing your energy, drive, or even your passion? If so, you could be feeling the loss of growth hormone. The reality is, as early as 25, your natural production of GH begins to significantly slow down, which means you start slowing down. Well, listen to this. New GH Boost from Nugenix is the world's first and only non-prescription supplement that safely supercharges your body's GH production at night when it naturally occurs. Clinical studies show the ingredients in GH Boost can increase your body's own GH levels more than 100% in just the first 90 minutes. And right now, Nugenix is letting every man in America try a complimentary 2-week sample by texting FAVOR to 321321 now. Get GH Boost and get your swagger back at the gym and in the bedroom. It's killing it at GNC, but you can only get your sample by texting FAVOR to 321321. That's FAVOR to 321321. Text FAVOR to 321321.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Diamonds Direct celebrates the holidays with you with a magical offer to make your dream gift more affordable than ever. Starting this Friday, we're offering 4 years zero-interest financing. Has she been dreaming of a new engagement ring, a bigger diamond, an elegant pair of diamond earrings, or a stunning diamond eternity band? With this amazing offer, you can afford to go big this Christmas. Just pick any item, get the unbeatable value price Diamonds Direct is known for, and spread your payments over 4 years with zero interest. Think about a $9,000 designer ring comes out to just $188 a month. At Diamonds Direct, our showcases are filled this year with gifts you'll absolutely love. Gifts that will last a lifetime. Colored gemstones, all new designer jewelry from New York and LA, and the biggest collection of rare, precious diamonds we've ever offered. It all starts Black Friday. Diamonds Direct's special holiday finance offer. Get holiday hours, directions, and see exclusive online Black Friday offers at diamondsdirect.com. On approved credit.
Owen Ryan here for American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Weather's changing. Short Texas winters are here. Your independent American Standard dealer can keep you toasty until summer returns. Comfort the way you like it.
That's right, Nolan. Go with the pros at Aramendia, the largest independent American Standard air dealer in South Texas. Get your heater checked today for only $79. Aramendia.com.
ARAMENDIA, Aramendia.
License 44766E.
This is Jerry Jones, and you're listening to the home of the Dallas Cowboys.
San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Mennix. Interesting weekend of college football. Quite frankly, I didn't watch a lot of it because I was tailgating too long at the UTSA game. And then after the UTSA game down at Pinkerton's, and the only game I was really watching was Utah beat the hell out of Oregon, which was a bit of a surprise. But it was that weekend where you could kind of do that. Let's talk about it. Peter Burns from the SEC Network joins us now. And, you know, really in the SEC front, we talked last week about could Arkansas pull off the upset. And I tell you what, Sam Pittman's boys almost got it done. They gave Bama a run.
Yeah, Jason, they look really good. And they're just a really, you know, they're like that mid-major team in March Madness that has like a bunch of super seniors and fifth-year guys that are playing really well. And they did, yeah. I mean, I think they exposed a little bit of what we've seen Alabama have issues all season long, which is part of their secondary, and their offensive line is not great. However, they do have a hell of a quarterback in Bryce Young, who probably is going to end up winning the Heisman if it's not him or C.J. Stroud. So, it's just weird that, we look at, Alabama's not great. Well, yeah, because we hold them to this, like, ridiculous standard, like that we're just shocked when they actually play close games. I still think they're the third best team in the country behind Georgia being 1 and Ohio State being 2. But again, they do have some issues. I don't think they're challenged by Auburn this week because Auburn doesn't have Bo Nix. But I think Georgia is going to give them a hell of a game come in the SEC championship game in a couple weeks.
Does Alabama not make the playoff this year?
No, I don't think they do, because I think Georgia is legitimately that good. I think Georgia is a team that's destined for greatness, like 2020 Alabama was, like 2019, LSU was. So I just don't see a team beating them. And there's no way an Alabama with 2 losses that hasn't been extremely dominant all season long is going to get in with 2 losses, unless there's absolutely chaos and Cincy loses and Notre Dame loses and Oklahoma State loses and Oklahoma finds a way to drop one. So, yeah, I think a non-playoff year for the Tide, which will make my wife extremely upset.
Absolutely, it would, and would probably make you kind of maybe a little bit happy just because, and partly just to prove you're right, because you've been on Georgia as the best team in the country since August.
Yeah, I mean, since January, you know, and when I came back and I saw what they were going to have, it was everything that Bama had, but just an incredible defense. And again, Stetson Bennett has played extremely well. And it's just something about Kirby Smart and what he's built there, right? I mean, if you get a second, and you can't play it on radio because it's not FCC compliant, but in a commercial break, go ahead and Google what Kirby Smart's halftime speech was to his team against Florida. The audio leaked, and it's incredible. It's every single thing you need to know about how they're on a mission this year, and they're winning it all.
Peter Burns of the SEC Network joining us here on the Blitz. There are a lot of halftime speeches I would like to hear, including what Jeff Traylor says to his team. I'm going to ask him at 6 when he's on with me, but I'm sure I'll get a coach speak type answer. But and speaking of coaches, Dan Mullen out, and we kind of talked about this last week. Not surprising, but he had a great tweet about the NFL buyout market and what it does for the economy. A pretty good gig if you can get it.
Oh my gosh. I mean, Mullen, you know, Dan's going to get $6 million here in the next 30 days. I mean, imagine that paycheck over the holidays. Then he gets like $1 million for the next couple of years. And oh, by the way, he can go do whatever he wants. Wants to go play golf. He can go take another job. I mean, whatever. So Florida's an interesting job now too, Minix, because now, you know, that's where do you rank that above? You know, do you rank it behind LSU? I would. Do you rank it equal to Southern Cal? That's the job that's open. You know, there's going to be a lot of coaches that are going to get a ton of extensions because that Florida job came open.
Well, that's it. You'll have some that get extensions. Then when those jobs get filled, I mean, LSU, Florida now, USC, you've got the 2 schools in Washington. Yeah, there's some big jobs open. Yeah. You know, and then when they get filled, then obviously there's going to be some other openings. And, you know, quite frankly, I don't think it would happen, but I don't think I would be surprised if there ended up being an opening in Austin after what Sark has not been able to get done in his first year.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see that happening. I think even Sark, you know, I think that's how you really start spinning your wheels if all of a sudden you start saying, hey, we're going to re-rack everything and build it from scratch over and over and over again, right? I mean, at some point you got to say, listen, we got to get this right before we join the SEC. We need an offensive-minded guy. Sark's our guy. We need to give it 3 or 4 years. Yeah, we need to give it 3 or 4 years and give that opportunity. Because if not, you're going to find yourself just in a world of hurt going forward.
Well, you are. And again, I just look at what we're seeing is part of the problem with college football is there's zero patience. 2 or 3 years, and if you're not going in the right way, buyout be damned, you are out. And it's so hard to build a program like that. It feels like Texas has been in that cycle now for a decade.
Well, and think about it too, and a lot of it is the places that have a big, huge boosters, right? LSU is one of those. Florida's one of those. I mean, Texas, of course, the amount of money that comes in there is out of control. And the boosters throughout the pandemic have gotten so much more power and so much more leverage, because when these athletic departments were hurting, it was the boosters that put up a whole lot more money to help kind of, you know, help them out during these, you know, tough times of 2020. And so now they're coming out and saying, listen, I want more power around these universities. And that's a scary thing because, you know, listen, rich people want what rich people want immediately. Like they don't have patience nowadays. And again, that's it goes to show you the impressive part of what Jimbo Fisher's done at A&M. I think what, you know, Kirby and Nick have done at Georgia and Alabama, respectively.
When you look at where the SEC is at, Peter, and the dominance that Georgia's had, and you're coming in the rivalry weekend, what's the game or two this week that is going to have like major implications that you're going, man, if you're going to sit and watch a game, this is the one you have to watch?
You know, what's kind of funny is I would have never thought this. Clemson, South Carolina is going to be really intriguing. Shane Beamer's done a hell of a job at South Carolina, and Clemson is not having the year that they normally would have. So I think that one. But, I mean, Mississippi and, Ole Miss and Mississippi State. I mean, think about the chaos that was Mike Leach, and they've been having a great year. Is it going to be Lane Kiffin's last game over in, as the head coach at Oxford, as his name's been looked at and looked at as Miami and even the Florida job? So I think the Egg Bowl between Mississippi State and Ole Miss, if you're just a football fan, you get to see that on Thanksgiving night. That's a hell of a game to watch after the Cowboys play.
Absolutely. It's going to be a fun weekend. Peter Burns of the SEC Network. I know it's a busy week for you. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, man. We will visit next week.
Later, buddy. Have a good one. See you, Jason.
Appreciate it. Peter Burns of the SEC Network. Coming up, we'll talk some Cowboys. The Moose, Daryl Johnston, will join us at 5:30. At 5, RJ Ochoa. But we've got some good news for Cowboy fans. Reinforcements coming in. We'll tell you about that as we continue here on the Blitz. And we got some movie tickets to give away for something by the title. I go, Then I look at the cast and go, yeah. All right, we'll give those away as well. Don't call now, but just know before 5 o'clock, we're giving away movie tickets. And I would tell you the movie if I could remember off the top of my head, but I can't.
House of Gucci?
We'll get there. The House of Gucci. Yes, apparently that is the name of the movie. That's really what they're calling it? Okay. Yeah, coming up, House of Gucci tickets that we will give away. Let me tell you about Garageization. I moved into my new house early 2020. But the garage in the new house, not as big as what I had in the old house, especially in the storage department. I parked both cars in the garage, all the stuff that goes in the garage, your golf clubs, all that kind of stuff. I needed an organization solution. And I found one with Garageization. They came out. We talked about what I needed, what I wanted, and I had some 6-foot shelves installed in the house. And what I love about these shelves, they're industrial type shelves. So you've got all the storage above the shelves, and they put one above my beer fridge. So I'm utilizing that space in that part of the garage. Got the other one, and then it got these adjustable bars underneath so you can hang things from. So you're utilizing all the space. I love the versatility of these shelves and how organized my garage is now. If you need to organize your garage, call Garageization at 210-664-4494. Talk to them about shelves, overhead racks, closed storage, slat walls. You think about it, at some point this week, you're going up in the attic or you're unloading your garage with all the Christmas stuff. And you're going to put all that stuff out in your yard, on your house, in your house, all of that. So you've got about a month or so to call Garageization and get some overhead racks installed. So when you pack it all up in January to put it away, you can organize it and in a much better way than what you have now. Think about that. Garageization is a veteran-owned company. They've been around since 2008, helping San Antonians love their garage. Call them. They will come out to your house and give you a customized plan for your garage. You can go to the website, garageorganizationsanantonio.com. That's garageorganizationsanantonio.com.
2 teams, 22 players, and over 100,000 screaming maniacs. Your home for Cowboys football on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
All right, it's Monday the 22nd. You have until Friday, November 27th to take advantage of the Alamo Water Softeners Black Friday special. Purchase one of their bundles between now and November 27th and receive a free 1-year tune-up on your water softener and a free water heater flush. Go to alamowatersofteners.com and check out all the different water treatment bundles with special pricing they have to give your home the highest quality water treatment available. And the other great thing that they're doing there at Alamo Water Softeners is they are offering 0% financing for 2 years with approved credit. Hard to beat, the same as cash offer, especially when, in San Antonio, we have some of the hardest water in the country. Go to alamowatersofteners.com. Schedule one of their whole home specialists to come out to your house for a free water analysis. Now is the time to take advantage of bundle pricing and 0% interest for 2 years with approved credit, and the Black Friday special going on now through November 27th. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference. Go to alamowatersofteners.com. That's alamowatersofteners.com. Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds. Score points with some of the boldest keto-friendly, protein-packed, and low-carb snacks out there. And with their new Southern Recipe Small Batch 6-bag variety pack, you'll get to choose a different flavored pork rind every time. Find Southern Recipe Small Batch at your local H-E-B, and you'll always have pork rinds ready to go. Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds. Be big, be bold, be adventurous.
Southern Recipe Pork Rinds.
Fever is the leading symptom of COVID and the flu, and the only way to reliably detect it is with an accurate thermometer. Be vigilant and be accurate with the Exergen Temporal Scanner, whose accuracy has been proven in more than 100 clinical studies. Don't rely on non-contact thermometers. They are proven to be inaccurate and will not reliably detect a fever that might mean COVID. Be sure to seek medical advice at the first sign of fever. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Finding the right Medicare plan may feel impossible, but now it's anything but. With Walgreens Find RX coverage tool, you can compare plans online, over the phone, or in person, making Medicare easier than ever. Easier than picking which true crime doc to watch, figuring out that Wi-Fi password, or putting the duvet cover back on. So if you can do those things, with Find RX coverage, you can definitely Medicare. Find the plan that's right for you by visiting walgreens.com/Medicare.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Happy Hour is back at Twin Peaks. Monday through Friday from 2 to 7 p.m. Score sweet deals like $1 off all wine, liquor, cheap shots, and freezing cold 29-degree draft brews. With select apps available for $2, $4, and $6. Twin Peaks Happy Hour is the move.
If it's rim wrecking board busting action you want, then come and get it.
Catching a right-hand dunk.
The greatest ballers on earth are doing their thing on the hard court, and we bring it to you. Catch the action on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
San Antonio's home for sports talk is right here. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Thank you much, Greeny. It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. Make sure you go to sasportstar.com. You can register to win Dallas Cowboys tickets. Cowboys, Raiders, Thursday. A game you can listen to here on the Star, brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds and Ewald Kubota. While you're there, also your Pinkerton's Barbecue Pro Football Pick'em Challenge. You know, you got one more game tonight. I got one more game to get to 500. Boy, I had a bad week picking games. Of course, you know, the Buccaneers win tonight. I'll be 500 for the week. But, you know, make sure you get your picks in for next week starting tomorrow so you can try to win that gift card to Pinkerton's and to Mellow Mushroom. But, you know, we don't save all our giveaways for the website. We give some away on the radio. And right now we have 2 tickets to go see a new movie called House of Gucci. I don't know anything about this movie. I don't think I've seen a trailer for this movie, but it says here in the copy they gave me, a shocking true story of the family behind the Italian fashion empire. It stars Lady Gaga, Salma Hayek, and Al Pacino. And the tickets are free. They're yours if you want them. What is UTSA ranked in the AP poll? 15th?
15th.
Well, give them a caller 15 at 656 ESPN, 656-3776. Caller 15, Pledger. I could have gone with the college football playoff ranking.
You're too kind.
I am. Caller 15, you get the tickets to go see House of Gucci. It's got Salma Hayek and Al Pacino. Haven't seen a preview for it, but looks pretty good. Cowboys, as they get ready to start a very short week and a bit of a gauntlet, if you will, when you think about playing Sunday on the road against Kansas City, home against Las Vegas on Thursday. Then the following Thursday, they've got the New Orleans Saints on the road. By the way, put in your calendar for that Saints game. We're going to be doing the Blitz live at Little Woodrow's over on 1604 in Stone Oak area that Thursday. Put that on your calendar now. because we're going to be out there with Miller Lite with a ton of prizes to give away. But you start thinking, okay, it's late November. This is when the Cowboys need to get really good. At 7-3, if we were to talk in August or July and said after 10 games the Cowboys are 7-3, we all would have said, hell yeah, we'll take it. And that is where they are right now. Although Mike McCarthy thinks they're 8-3. Maybe he's already counting the win on Thursday against Thanksgiving, although I do think he just really misspoke. They expect, according to Dr. Stephen Jones on the radio today, Tyron Smith to play. They thought he could play Thursday or yesterday, but he wasn't quite there, and they didn't want to push it, knowing that there was a short turnaround. And they took the big picture view of the importance of the Kansas City game and said, not that important. And the big picture of things, if you play on Sunday against Kansas City, then you need to be able to play Thursday against the Raiders. And if they didn't think he was going to be able to recover fast enough, then hold him off on Kansas City, because now's the time the Cowboys need the help. So hopefully Tyron Smith is able to go on Thursday against the Raiders. And Lord knows, based on what we saw, they certainly need him. When the Cowboys don't have good line play, they don't seem to play well. We saw that against Denver. We saw that yesterday, where the defenses from the from the Broncos and the Chiefs doing something similar. Maybe not. I mean, Mike McCarthy was asked about, did they do what Denver did defensively to shut down the Cowboys' attack?
I think the carryover from Denver to tonight, I think Steve, played, real aggressively outside, came with more pressure there to start the game. So, it's just like anything in this league. If you don't defeat it 1 week, you're going to see it again. So, we got to do a better job, particularly against the aggressive secondaries that we saw in Denver and Kansas City.
All right, Dak, what did you see from Denver, man? Were they doing the same thing?
No, we just didn't execute. I mean, Fangio went man, and obviously we beat that last week, and this team did as well. They're physical on the outside. They did a good job of that, but we've got to fight through that. We've got to make throws, make catches, and if we do that tonight, it's a whole different game.
And that really might be what it comes down to. I mean, and you think about what Dak said. I think it was pretty honest. He didn't have the best game because he was rushing things. The offensive line didn't hold up. And the defensive backs were very physical on the Cowboys. It feels like you could do whatever you want to Michael Gallup. They will not throw a flag. You go into that game without Amari Cooper because he is unvaccinated and test positive. So he's going to miss 2 games. Amari Cooper didn't play yesterday, and because of the policy, won't be available to play on Thursday, regardless of what his testing is, whether it's negative or not. He's going to miss 10 games. So he's out for the Thanksgiving Day game. CeeDee Lamb gets hurt early in that game when he banged his head on the turf and was out with a concussion. Although Dr. Stephen Jones on the radio this morning up in Dallas said he's feeling pretty good. So it looks like CeeDee Lamb is going to be able to play against the Raiders. And I appreciate the way Stephen said it today. If he were having some issues this morning, they would be very worried about the game on Thursday. But he's not having any issues today, so he should be able to be good to go. The best news for the Cowboys, and yes, I intentionally buried the lead as I set that up. The best news for the Cowboys is DeMarcus Lawrence is expected to be activated off of IR this week. And Mike McCarthy did not rule out the fact that D-Law could play Thursday against the Raiders. We haven't seen him since week 1. So now you start to see some of those reinforcements coming back. And that's what Jerry and Steven were talking about, Mike McCarthy, around the trade deadline, is that they don't need to make a trade. They're going to have to make room for some really good players coming off of IR and the corresponding roster moves that are going to come with it. So you look at this stretch run, get healthy at the right time. I mean, the Cowboys comfortably in first place in the NFC East, although, the Giants play tonight, but, in reality, both Washington and Philadelphia won yesterday. The Eagles are starting to play good football. They've won a couple in a row. They're now 5-6, and Jalen is looking like a legit player. But I don't think if you're a Cowboy fan, you worry about the division. Not that you don't take them seriously, but the Cowboys built a good early lead in the division, and they're dealing with some injuries right now. I don't want to make excuses for the Cowboys. I wanted them to go in and beat the crap out of the Kansas City Chiefs, but they didn't get it done. And like we talked about last week, against an AFC team, it doesn't really matter. So why rush a guy like Tyron Smith back? If he's not going to be ready to go, don't do it. But you look at the game coming up Thursday against the Raiders on Thanksgiving. Then they're at New Orleans, at Washington, at New York. Then they're home against Washington and Arizona and at Philadelphia. It's the right time to get DeMarcus Lawrence back. It is the right time for D-Law to be back. And then Randy Gregory isn't going to be far behind. And if this team starts clicking on all cylinders, that's what you want. I mean, when you look at what's going on right now in the NFC especially, and throughout the NFL, when you look at the overall standings, I mean, the Packers lost yesterday, so they're 8-3. Cowboys are 7-3. Tampa Bay is 6-3. They've lost 2 in a row, but they've got the Giants tonight. And you've got the Cardinals at 9-2. They keep winning with Colt McCoy. And they're going into their bye. The Rams are at 7-3. So, I mean, you look at it, Dallas is still very much in play for that 1 overall seed in the NFC, or at least in position to host a playoff game in the first round if they don't end up with that bye. If you're a Cowboy fan, disappointment with losing and the way they lost, and when the Cowboys offense isn't clicking, my God, it's ugly. But it doesn't matter if you lose a shootout. I mean, look at like Pittsburgh last night. That was an incredible fourth quarter. End of the day, they still just lost a game. Cowboys offense didn't have it. I don't want to sound excusey, but without linemen and without your receivers, hard to do things. They never established the run. And quite frankly, I don't know that Zeke is healthy, although I don't know that they would hold him out of the Thursday game against the Raiders. We'll talk more about the Cowboys coming up. 5:30, Daryl Moose Johnston will join us for Mondays with the Moose. RJ Ochoa is going to be on with us as well. And you think about this Thursday, well, I mean, you got Monday Night Football tonight. You got some basketball this week. Then Thursday, you got NFL, you got college football, and you got family in town. You need a place to escape. The Rue Pub there at 281 in Redland Road will open up late coming up. They won't be open early on Thanksgiving, but they're going to be open in time for the Cowboy game. I mean, that's it. James Pledger's going to be there. He'll be drinking. If they need help in the kitchen, he'll do whatever because he's got to get out of the house. If you need to get out of the house, you need to escape, you need to get into the Rue Pub. They've got great food, but if you show up full, that's fine. They got the full bar. They got everything you need, the game room, best darts area in town, and the best place to watch games. 3 massive 170-inch screens, TVs all around, and they will be open on Thanksgiving. Rue Pub happy hour weekdays from 11 to 6. Great for lunch, great for dinner, great for late at night, and certainly the best place to watch games. The Rue Pub, next to the Angry Elephant, 281 in Redland Road. We'll see you at the Rue.
Cowboys football is not a gentle game. That hurt. Cowboys football is not soft. Cowboys football is war. Just don't use that helmet as a weapon. When you want total Cowboys football coverage, get it here on the home of the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. This is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Diamonds Direct celebrates the holidays with you with a magical offer to make your dream gift more affordable than ever. Starting this Friday, we're offering 4 years zero-interest financing. Has she been dreaming of a new engagement ring, a bigger diamond, an elegant pair of diamond earrings, or a stunning diamond eternity band? With this amazing offer, you can afford to go big this Christmas. Just pick any item, get the unbeatable value price Diamonds Direct is known for, and spread your payments over 4 years with zero interest. Think about a $9,000 designer ring comes out to just $188 a month. At Diamonds Direct, our showcases are filled this year with gifts you'll absolutely love. Gifts that will last a lifetime. Colored gemstones, all new designer jewelry from New York and LA, and the biggest collection of rare, precious diamonds we've ever offered. It all starts Black Friday. Diamonds Direct special holiday finance offer. Get holiday hours, directions, and see exclusive online Black Friday offers at diamondsdirect.com. On approved credit.
If your dream vacation doesn't include your spouse, it may be time for a permanent getaway. Call divorcedude.com at 210-201-0303 and ask for Mark, the Divorce Dude with Pulling Law PLLC. Divorcedude.com can help you get a fast, affordable, agreed divorce. But if you want to fight, the Divorce Dude can fight for you. Divorcedude.com gives you easy legal options and sticks with you every step of the way. If the marriage is over, why fight? Divorcedude.com.
There's confusion about how to protect yourself from COVID. One thing is certain. Whether or not you're vaccinated, you need an accurate thermometer to check for fever, the leading sign of flu and COVID. Be vigilant and contact your medical provider at the first sign of fever. Don't rely on non-contact thermometers that have no scientific studies. Only the Exergen temporal scanner thermometer has been proven accurate in more than 100 clinical studies. Learn more at Exergen.com.
This Black Friday, see excitement as you get up to 50% off season passes at SeaWorld. Then see joy as your family delights in the biggest Christmas celebration and light display in Texas. See happiness as they visit Santa and our amazing animals throughout the park. And see the world transformed into a dazzling winter wonderland during SeaWorld's Christmas celebration. Buy a season pass, get a second one 50% off during our Black Friday sale now through November 26th. Restrictions apply.
One team, one mission. KZDC, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Jason Minix, The Blitz.
It is The Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Cowboys lose to the Kansas City Chiefs. And offensively, it was ugly. Let's talk about it. Our good friend RJ Ochoa from bloggingtheboys.com joining us on radio. But if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook Live or on Twitter or all those other places you can watch it, RJ has opted not to join in on video because he knows that win or lose, I'm going to wear Cowboys gear the day after a game. I support my team even in a loss, but RJ's got this thing called Victory Polo Monday. He does not wear Cowboy gear if they don't win.
That's right, Jason. So I have some standards. I know that you don't participate in having them, but that's okay. I actually decided to wear the opposite of a polo today. Do you know what that is?
The opposite of a polo. You're wearing a T-shirt?
It's actually a T-shirt hoodie. It's a long sleeve T-shirt that has a hood on it. You know, that's the most, like, the slouchiest thing I could imagine. That would be the opposite of a polo. I did want to start, not by chastising your fashion choice, but by congratulating you for not going through all of the travel and expense of going to that game. I mean, I bet you can't tell me there was a teeny tiny part of you that wasn't like, you know what, good thing we didn't go.
There was a whole lot of me that was saying that throughout the game yesterday, that, man, I am so glad I'm not at that game. And look, I mean, I went through the travel and expense of going and watch the Cowboys lose to Denver. I mean, it's part of it. But, man, it was just ugly from the get-go. And you think about it, in the grand scheme of things, it's a loss to an AFC team. And not excuse sounding, although they do sound like excuses. They were down a lot of key players in that game. And offensively, they couldn't get it done. I'm impressed that the defense held Kansas City to under 20 points.
I agree with you on the excuses, and I'll get there in a moment. But to me, and I promise this is not like the Cowboys fans whose team lost yesterday and is just trying to, reason or whatever. But I'm really not that impressed that the defense held them to under 20 points. I don't think that this is a great offense from Kansas City. And I know they looked good the week before against Vegas, and, all respect to them for that. But, I mean, you look at this 4-game winning streak they're on. They barely, by the hair on their chinny chin chin, beat the New York Giants on Monday Night Football. They get lucky and draw the Green Bay Packers without Aaron Rodgers and still barely squeak that out. And then, yes, they have the offensive explosion against the Raiders team that has pretty much quit on this season for understandable and obvious reasons. And so, at one point, Kansas City went 5 straight possessions at home in that mighty building with that crowd without scoring a single point. And so, I don't want to take away credit from the Cowboys defense, but I didn't find that to be this Herculean effort. It doesn't taste to me like it would if they, when the Titans went, beat the Chiefs, in that season. And so I really, I'm not that impressed by it. I think the Cowboys knew that this was not that great of a team. It was an AFC game. And so if they lost, obviously that would not be ideal, but it wasn't going to ruin their season.
Well, that's true. And the reason I go under 20, and the reason I think it's a big deal, anytime you hold a team in the NFL under 20, I think that's something that you look at. And quite frankly, outside of Atlanta being held to a field goal and Minnesota to 16, they give up 20 a lot. And, I think what was it? The Chargers was maybe 17, but, even the Giants scored 20 and the Eagles had 21, although they got one late. So I look at, so you hold the team under 20, you should win, I think is the point. Now, so I think the defense did enough. RJ, before we continue this, little breaking news out of the NBA. LeBron James, 1-game suspension. Isaiah Stewart, 2-game suspension for all the stuff that happened during that Lakers-Pistons game.
Yikes. I think, a hot take here. I think LeBron was wrong. I think it was purposeful. I think NBA I think the NBA clearly feels that way, because if they didn't, he wouldn't be suspended at all. And so if there's any acknowledgement that it was purposeful, the fact that he has the lower level punishment is embarrassing. But I guess that's what happens when you build the oldest super team in the world and aren't killing teams the way you wanted to.
It's very interesting. We'll talk more about this a little bit later on here on the Blitz. Back to the Cowboys as RJ Ochoa from bloggingtheboys.com joins us, dissecting the loss from yesterday, Cowboys and Chiefs. The one thing that bothered me about the game yesterday is it felt similar to other games. When they're not performing, they're not establishing the run. And I know they've got issues on the offensive line, and Zeke isn't 100%. But at some point, do you think, what can they do differently to try to get something going and try to dictate the pace?
I think it's theoretically, I agree with you, and theoretically it makes sense. But Chris Jones was a monster yesterday. There was nothing to be had there. And it reminded me of the season opening game against Tampa when they couldn't get anything against Vita Vea and Ndamukong Suh, and everybody said, why aren't you running the ball? And it's like, well, you're just going to be running it into a brick wall. And, not that they had a lot going for them in the passing game, but I think that was just the lesser of the evils that presented themselves as far as the challenge was concerned in Kansas City. It's tough, and obviously you want to be a physical football team that can run no matter what, but missing Tyron, having Conor McGovern start for the first time, that just, that makes everything a little bit more difficult than I think we all would like it to be, honestly.
Well, and that was the one thing that kind of surprised me, that, I know there has been all the talk about McGovern and what to do with Williams, one Conor in for the other. If Tyron wasn't going to play, was it the smart thing to do to go Conor McGovern?
I certainly understand the argument that it wasn't, but I also, if you're ready to start Conor McGovern, then you're ready to start Conor McGovern. You know what I mean? Whether or not Tyron's there, you should make that decision independent of it. And I do kind of think that the Tyron decision was an 11th hour sort of thing. I think it was, I don't think this is an original thought by me, but it felt very similar to Dak Prescott in Minnesota. And it felt similar in the sense that they said, okay, Tyron, if you're 100%, let's party. But if you're not, this is not the game to push it. We don't win the Super Bowl by beating the Chiefs at Arrowhead in Week 11. And the reality is, on our post-game show, Blogging the Boys last night, I asked everybody, I said, if I could have guaranteed you one win for the Cowboys, the Falcons or the Chiefs, which one would you have said? And a whole bunch of wrong people said the Chiefs. And, the reality is, this game, as much as we want to make about it, as big as it felt, as cool as it would have been, as much crap as we would have talked if they had beaten the Chiefs at Arrowhead, even this weekend Chiefs team, it is one of the least significant games they will play all season long. And Tyron having to play on Sunday and again on Thanksgiving Day would have been a tall order. And so, if you're trying to thread this needle, you want him to play on Thursday, and then you get the old Jason Garrett Thursday is Sunday, Friday is Saturday, or Monday, line of approach to where he plays next Thursday against New Orleans, because guess what? That game is important because that's an NFC season.
I agree with that. Same thing we said after the Denver game. What I'm curious of is, two of their last three have been clunkers offensively. And for this offense, with all the weapons, with all the depth, even at wide receiver, and I know you lost CD early, and I know Amari didn't start the game. I thought Cedric Wilson was awful with his drops. But, is it a lack of trust with Dak and some of those guys? Because Dak was off. Sometimes it's wide receivers that don't run a proper route, and it makes the quarterback look bad. But I wasn't sure, because it didn't look like Dak was ever comfortable in Kansas City.
Well, I think, you're right that you're missing these players, and there is a little bit of leniency that everyone's willing to allow for that. But you're still, you want to say you're the number one offense in the NFL. I don't care who's that. You can't get blanked on the touchdown front. Like we can sit here and justify this to a certain degree, but it doesn't completely excuse. And I know you're not saying that what they did. I think a big part of it is Dak was off. I mean, that first throw of Michael Gallup was off. I mean, high balls, low balls, balls behind wide receivers. But I would add that part of the dysfunction, because there were a lot of elements to it, was just that he was on the run. I mean, every snap. I think Dak, with time in the pocket, is able to find the Cedric Wilsons and the Noah Browns, even though they're not the Amari Coopers and CD Lambs. But he was just under duress, basically, from the start of the game. And in that sense, that's really where the Cowboys, they started on their left foot and they never caught up. It was just chasing, and you can't win that way in the NFL.
You can't. Again, if you're going to lose ugly, you're going to lose. Does it matter? Does this one hurt more because, they just couldn't get it going than what we saw in Tampa Bay with a couple of missed kicks, and you felt like, man, we should have won that game? I know Kansas City's good, but are they Super Bowl good this year? I'm not completely sold yet, but I know now is the time, as we get ready to hit December, is when you want to be playing your best football. In the news today that DeMarcus Lawrence is expected to come off the IR, could play Thursday against the Raiders. You start to see some of those bodies coming back, some of those star players coming back at the right time for the Cowboys.
Yeah, and I think that's, if you're concerned about the offense, I think they'll stabilize, especially once Amari's back, once CD's fully healthy, once Michael Gallup. Lest we forget, that was just his third game of the season yesterday in Kansas City. But this defense is legit. Are they, I don't know how legit you want to define that. Are they a top 5 defense, top 1, top 3, whatever? They're a defense that can not only keep you in a game, but they can win you a game. And they're that group, basically, to your point, without DeMarcus Lawrence, without Neville Gallimore, right now without Brent Urban. There are a lot of reinforcements coming for a defense that is already very good. So to get those back, it raises the floor of what you're doing all the way around. And I know that it feels like the sky is falling. Anytime today I've tweeted out something about the Raiders game on Thursday, it's been, yeah, right. That's if we score a point. If we don't get destroyed by the Raiders. Here's the thing. They've got the Raiders. Then they've got a Saints team who was so bad that they let the Eagles hang 40 points on them. Then they got Washington twice in 3 weeks. The meat in that sandwich is Daniel Jones. And then you got the Cardinals, and I know everybody's looking forward to that. The soft landing spot is coming before the playoffs, and that's a really exciting thing.
RJ Ochoa from bloggingtheboys.com joining us here on the Blitz, as he does every Monday. RJ, when I think about the opportunity yesterday, it was billed as the game of the year, the hype around it. And it certainly didn't live up to the billing, I don't think, for either team. It's not like Mahomes threw for 5 touchdowns. He didn't throw for any, actually. But what I am concerned about, follow me here, big game, spotlight game. I wasn't impressed with Kellen. I wasn't impressed with Dak. I wasn't impressed with the offense. I know they always say they're a resilient group and all the things that Dak will always say. But in the big games, makes me wonder if they're ready for those moments.
I know you're somewhat admitting this. I think that's, and I don't think it's unfair or it's wrong. I think that's a little bit, carved out of Take Mountain, right? Like Narrative Mountain, but that's fair to a degree, right? It's not a consequential game. And the only The only explanation that helps you sleep at night is that everybody in the Cowboys organization kind of waved the white flag internally about this game. And that wouldn't be responsible, but it's somewhat practical given the injuries and what they're dealing with and the consequences of the opponent and whatnot. But there is something to this is supposed to be a moment. Everyone's saying this is where you establish your MVP candidacy, your coach of the year candidacy, et cetera, et cetera. And to not do that, I mean, it's fair to be concerned. It's not fair to freak out and panic and say this team is trash, but it's fair to wonder where that killer instinct is.
Well, and that's where I'm going with that, because, you know, you're right. If they took a bigger picture view as opposed to one game at a time when it comes to the health of Tyron Smith, which I think is smart. At the same time, Dak Prescott, we're, you know, talking about you for MVP. You have a game like that, that conversation is going to quiet down for a little while. All eyes were on this game, and the Cowboys came out and they looked like they couldn't handle the pressure from the crowd, from the Chiefs, from the moment. And that is concerning. Not trying to go hot take mountain, but in some ways, you look at that team and you go, man, big spotlight. They came up small.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, again, you hope that the Cowboys have enough internal mental resolve to not fall victim to, you know, the freak out moment of this, that they're able to say, you know what, that was just one game, that was just whatever, extenuating circumstances, but that remains to be seen. They kind of responded to that cry, that, you know, challenge when it came to the Falcons game, and we'll see if they'll do it on Thursday.
And then you look ahead to Thursday, which certainly seems like the perfect get-right opponent for the Dallas Cowboys, because, boy, you talk about a dumpster fire that has started there with the Raiders organization. You can't have a letdown against those guys. But what are you expecting to see?
You know, I think that I do think they'll respond well. I think the Cowboys obviously are a team that you know, invites challenges and sometimes brings them on themselves. But I think that Thursday is going to be an opportunity for them to kind of prove to the world on a big stage that they are not this bad team that we just saw.
RJ, if you're the Cowboys, do you play DeMarcus Lawrence against the Raiders or save him for the Saints? That was a good non-answer from RJ Ochoa. Sounded like he was at the golf course, didn't it? Do you think it was his turn to hit?
I think so.
It might have been. He didn't tell us he was at the golf course, but he
couldn't do video.
He wasn't doing video, and he certainly wasn't at his house. But we lost connection there. Again, I don't know why I am not more bummed and angry about the loss yesterday. So much hype around this game. And I had friends over, you know, we did some poppers and some burgers and, you know, just barbecue, ready to watch the game. And, you know, and my friend, he's in town. He lives in Germany. He's Air Force and lives in Germany. He's sitting there and it's like, this is what you get. Because they do get Red Zone over there through Skynet or whatever, but they don't get to watch a lot of full Cowboy games. So this is the one he was looking forward to watching, and that's what he got to see. And you just sit there. It was just ugly from the get-go. But you look around the NFL this year, and you sit there and you say, all right, well, just look at yesterday. When you look at Green Bay losing, we look at all the scores from yesterday. Buffalo losing bad at home to the Indianapolis Colts. That's going to make for an interesting Hard Knocks series on Wednesday night for the in-season Hard Knocks. If you missed it last week, that is going on. Washington beat Carolina. You know, let's see, Minnesota beat Green Bay. Minnesota looked like they were trying to give that thing away, but they didn't get it done. Houston upsets Tennessee. I don't think any of us saw that one coming. And there's some like James Pledger who didn't want that to happen. Mm-hmm. Philadelphia destroys New Orleans. The Eagles have won 2 in a row. They're looking like a good football team. Arizona with Colt McCoy, they beat Seattle. And you talk about a Seattle team that all of a sudden, what is Seattle? 3 wins on the year? They're 3-7?
Yep.
Pete Carroll feeling the pressure on the hot seat? Russell Wilson, is he going to be gone from Seattle next year? I mean, is that little run finally coming to an end? I mean, I'll tell you what, Pete Carroll knows he is on the hot seat. Did you hear what happened to Pete yesterday? He was so mad after the game. He does his post-game press conference and walks out after 5-6 minutes. And I guess he went and took a shower, changed his clothes, and then he came back into the media room and said, "Guys, I know you guys have a job to do. I'll try to help you answer the questions, but clearly I don't have the answers." And I appreciate that Pete Carroll came back. He came back and fulfilled the media obligation because he knows at the end of the year, when all those reporters start putting off, is it time for Pete to go? He needed some of that goodwill because Pete Carroll has never done that. Baker Mayfield yesterday, just completely, they won the game, and he skipped out on the media. He got booed all game, and his wife took to social media. It is a dumpster fire in Cleveland. So as a Cowboy fan, we go, all right, man, we got beat in an ugly game against Kansas City. That's not what we expect out of the Dallas Cowboys. My concern is we've seen 2 of those in 3 weeks. That is a concern. Tyron Smith needs to get healthy. And I think the Cowboys looked big picture at Tyron and said, you know what? If you play today, you're not going to be ready for Thursday. We would rather have consistency, and let's go from there. I'm surprised they switched out the Connors knowing that they weren't going to have both. But ultimately, I wasn't angry after the game. I was disappointed, didn't like the play. But with that offensive line, without an offensive line, you don't get much done. And Patrick Mahomes knows that better than anybody. Patrick Mahomes last year in the Super Bowl had no offensive line, had no time, and what happened? And so you end up with a bunch of screen passes. Well, Kansas City played those extremely well yesterday on the screens. They played tight coverage. Cowboys in that bump and run never got any separation, and Michael Gallup can't draw a PI penalty to save his life. He just can't do it.
Jason, I'm wondering, because you talk about the switch of Conor McGovern for Connor Williams at left guard next to Tyron Smith, and what does that do for the offense in terms of you have effectively taken out a portion of your playbook that Kellen Moore used to great success by not having McGovern be able to do those plays where he lines up as fullback, lines out wide, and they run plays. And every time it seemed he was in the game running those plays, they got big plays out of those, chunk yardage. And now you don't have that in your playbook anymore because of the move.
Yeah, it's such a small percentage of plays. I don't know that it mattered much. That didn't factor into the way the Cowboys played yesterday at all. Now, what they were trying to do, I think, is Connor Williams has been okay, but he leads the league in penalties. A lot of big plays have been wiped away. And while you look at Connor Williams leading the league, not only a number of penalties called against him, but number of yards, you don't factor in how many yards, and that'd be an interesting question for Mike McCarthy because you know damn well they have it. How many yards did it cost the Cowboys? Yes, you lost 10 on that holding penalty, but it wiped away a 31-yard catch. It wiped away a touchdown. It wiped away. I wonder what the total damage that Connor Williams has done. Because when he's not getting penalties, it's not like he's played bad, but you can't trust him. Conor McGovern has played well enough in so many roles. They're doing things to get him on the field. But finally, they said, we can't live with the penalty potential with Williams and Steele. So, McGovern, we're going to give you an opportunity, and, man, you've earned it. You've earned it. I don't know that I would have done that. And, again, easy to armchair quarterback. I guess once you make the decision that you're going McGovern over Williams at guard, it doesn't matter who's at tackle. Although I would have done it when I've got Tyron Smith there, so he's got a little bit of protection. But clearly, McGovern got all the first-team work this week in practice. So that tube was out of the toothpaste. And then, when Tyron wasn't ready to go, all right, it's going to be one of those days. But I just don't like the way Kellen Moore continued to call the game. When things aren't working, you got that big old sheet. What else is on there? I mean, do you have a little box in there called the oblique plays? Because none of this is working. Can we do something here that's a little off schedule? Because with no Amari Cooper, and then when CeeDee Lamb got hurt, now you've got Michael Gallup essentially as your one. Cedric Wilson became your two. So some of the trick plays was said that also include him throwing a pass. Those were out the window as well. It just was an ugly, ugly game for the Dallas Cowboys. We'll talk about it with Daryl Johnston as we continue here on the Blitz. Of course, we'll always take your phone calls on the Kia Bossa Bacon phone lines. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776, or on Twitter, tweet at me at Jason Minix. James Pledger is on Twitter at I am Pledger. Alamo Water Softeners is having a Black Friday special. It's Monday. You have until this Friday, the 27th, between today and the 27th, to purchase one of their bundles and receive a free 1-year tune-up on your water softener and a free water heater flush. And San Antonio has some of the hardest water in the country. Go to AlamoWaterSofteners.com. At Alamo Water Softeners, they have water treatment bundles with special pricing to give your home the highest quality water treatment available. And they are offering 0% financing for 2 years with approved credit. Now is the time to take advantage of bundle pricing, 0% interest for 2 years with approved credit, and the Black Friday special going on now through November 27th. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference. Go to the website, AlamoWaterSofteners.com. That's AlamoWaterSofteners.com. Mondays with the Moose. Three-time Super Bowl champion Daryl Johnston will join us after SportsCenter from James Pledger.
Thanks a lot, Jason. The Conference USA West title belongs to the UTSA Roadrunners in a thrilling come-from-behind victory over the weekend as they beat UAB 34-31. And the Roadrunners, because of that, have swept the Conference USA weekly awards. Frank Harris, who threw for 232 yards and 3 touchdowns in the game, including the game winner with 3 seconds left, took home the Offensive Player of the Week. Clarence Hicks was the Defensive Player of the Week after his 3 tackles, 2 sack performance. And Hunter Duplessis won the Special Teams Player of the Week after going 2 for 2 on field goals with a long of 51, and he was perfect on his extra points. Incarnate Word won the Southland Conference title with a 55-14 win over Houston Baptist on the road as Cam Ward threw for 314 yards and a score. They'll welcome Stephen F. Austin into the nest on Saturday in the FCS playoffs. Trinity's undefeated season came to an end as they fell in the first round of the D3 playoffs to Mary Harm Baylor 13-3. The season of misery continues for Sark and the Longhorns as they fell 31-23 to West Virginia. Their 6th straight loss and first since 1956. They also have the worst record for a first-time coach since 1937. I'm James Pledger for San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
Only Wendy's serves a better breakfast with a better biscuit. Our hot buttery breakfast biscuits are loaded with a fresh cracked egg, cheese, and your choice of bacon or sausage. And right now at Wendy's, they're only $1 each.
Wendy's breakfast biscuits, just $1.
So don't take a chance with those other guys. Bet your buck on a better breakfast with Wendy's bacon or sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
Limited time only during breakfast hours. U.S. price of participation may vary. Limit 5 qualifying items per transaction. Not valid in a combo. Excludes honey butter chicken biscuit.
Diamonds Direct celebrates the holidays with you with a magical offer to make your dream gift more affordable than ever. Starting this Friday, we're offering 4 years zero-interest financing. Has she been dreaming of a new engagement ring, a bigger diamond, an elegant pair of diamond earrings, or a stunning diamond eternity band? With this amazing offer, you can afford to go big this Christmas. Just pick any item, get the unbeatable value price Diamonds Direct is known for, and spread your payments over 4 years with zero interest. Think about a $9,000 designer ring comes out to just $188 a month. At Diamonds Direct, our showcases are filled this year with gifts you'll absolutely love. Gifts that will last a lifetime. Colored gemstones, all new designer jewelry from New York and LA, and the biggest collection of rare, precious diamonds we've ever offered. It all starts Black Friday. Diamonds Direct special holiday finance offer. Get holiday hours, directions, and see exclusive online Black Friday offers at diamondsdirect.com. On approved credit.
Central Builders Incorporated is a family-owned, award-winning general contractor headquartered in San Antonio. Since 1989, CBI has completed over $1 billion in construction projects, including large-scale remodeling, expansions, and ground-up construction. The award-winning CBI has also been recognized by the San Antonio Business Journal as one of the best places to work for the past 4 years, and Central Builders is hiring. Learn more at centralbuilders.net. That's centralbuilders.net.
You need an accurate thermometer to check for fever, a potential sign of flu or COVID. Be vigilant and contact your medical provider at the first sign of fever. Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer has been proven accurate in more than 100 clinical studies. Exergen Temporal Scanners are available at Walmart and other fine retailers. Learn more at exergen.com. That's EXERGEN.com. Exergen is changing the way the world takes temperature.
Injuries happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries and has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. There is no reason to be in pain. If you are hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Learn more at TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com, or schedule your appointment by calling 210-804-5490.
Thomas J. Henry has been featured in Forbes magazine, Fortune magazine, and Bloomberg Businessweek for securing record-breaking results for clients injured in accidents. The firm recently obtained a $27 million recovery for a trucking accident victim. If you or someone you love has been hurt in an accident, visit tjhlaw.com/radio to get help now. That's tjhlaw.com/radio. San Antonio, Texas.
This is The Blitz with Jason Minix and the brightest sports insiders. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It is The Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Glad to have you along on this Monday because, well, it's time for Mondays with the Moose. Three-time Super Bowl champion and Fox analyst Daryl Johnston, the Moose, joining us now to talk about what happened to the Cowboys yesterday, Moose.
What happened? What was that? Holy cow.
That was ugly. And you know what's weird? I'm not mad about it. I don't know what. Normally, you're just angry after a game. Like the Denver game. It's like, how can that happen? It was billed as the game of the year, and it just didn't live up to its hype. Dak had no time, not sounding like excuses or reasons, but no time to throw the ball. He seemed off, and it was just ugly from start to finish.
Absolutely. And Kansas City as well. Patrick Mahomes struggled a little bit. So, I mean, people talking about a possible 38-35, 41-38 type game, and it was nothing even close to that. So the big thing is you hope that what happened in that game, that's just Chris Jones, having a night. I don't think Dallas did a great job of matching the emotion at the start of the game. And then when, Steve Spagnuolo's defense started to play the way they did, there was not a good response. So those would be the only things that I would be concerned about, which is more, kind of that, individual reflection by each player and kind of owning that after they watched that film. That to me was one of the biggest things that motivated me. That film goes out to everybody in the NFL. Your opponents are going to watch, probably, the three previous games And so for me, I always wanted to make sure that, when my opponent was watching me on film, he knew he was in for a full day. So I think that was one of those games last night where you can put that film on and say, is this what we want our opponents to think of us as they're preparing? This is not who we are. This is not us.
How concerning is it for a game with this kind of hype? And the Cowboys felt that hype all week. They were going into Arrowhead, going into Kansas City, all of that. For them not to have energy early, is that on Mike McCarthy not having his team hyped and ready to go? Is that on Dak and some of the team leaders? I mean, it's an interesting way to look at things, but you're right. They got punched early and they never recovered.
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything, Jason. You can't. The coaches can't get you ready emotionally to play the game. They can prepare you, scheme wise and strategy. There may be an opportunity for them during the course of the game with a fourth down call, a cover zero blitz, something, a wrinkle on special teams, to contribute, to generate some momentum. But when you talk about just the emotion of going to Arrowhead and playing that team on their home field, that was the troubling thing to me. They just, the drops early in the game, the mistakes early in the game, they just weren't locked in mentally and emotionally as good as I would have hoped they would have. So I'll put it on the leaders. I'll put it on the captains, the Daks, the Micah Parsons, who had a hell of a game. So he was ready to go. But that's what happens, right? And you could see it was contagious on the defensive side of the ball. Micah Parsons, kind of got that whole unit up and going. But we just didn't have that on the offensive side. There wasn't a big catch and run. There wasn't Tony Pollard, Ezekiel Elliott, neither one of those guys had a big run. There was nothing there that they could kind of lash a hold of and start to build off.
Daryl Johnston, the Moose, joining us here on the Blitz, talking about yesterday's tough loss to the Kansas City Chiefs by the Dallas Cowboys. Typically, you go, okay, that's one game. But we said that 2 games ago against Denver. Should there be concern about this team and readiness and energy and that sort of stuff when we've seen clunkers in 2 of their last 3 games?
Yeah, right. And the one in between is Atlanta, and then we see what New England did to Atlanta. So Atlanta's just they're in a tough spot right now. So that wasn't as quality a win as I thought it was at the time. So not only going back and reevaluating Denver and Kansas City, but really I think you have to take a look at Atlanta as well. That might have masked a few issues, offensively that surfaced last night in that game. So, this is going to be a tough one coming up on Thanksgiving Day. It's Rich Bisaccia coming back here, who was a coach here. That there's always a little bit more emotion there. They've struggled a little bit as of late, but there is talent on that roster. They've had an emotional roller coaster of a season. With Coach Gruden, with Henry Ruggs, there's things that have gone on in that organization that can really, really disrupt the team. So we'll see where they are at the start of the game, but Dallas really needs to just flush Sunday night. That's the good thing about Thanksgiving week. You don't come in on Monday and spend some time, breaking down the previous game. You got to move right on to your game for Thursday. So you're not going to have to watch that over again. You're going to get right on to Las Vegas. So, that'll be the one good thing this week. Just forget about that and move forward as quick as possible.
Daryl Johnston joining us here on the Blitz. When you talk about lack of emotion, how much finding out the day of Amari Cooper, who's unvaccinated, test positive, so he's out, and Tyron Smith, who is a game-time decision, is out. How much did just finding out those guys weren't going to be there, how much do you think that played a factor in readiness?
I don't think a lot. I really don't.
Okay.
Tyron has been in and out of the lineup this year, so that one is going to be an easier adjustment. Amari Cooper has been in and out of the lineup, so there's things you can look at and say that they may have impacted that. But if Dallas is the team that they want to be, that's something that they've got to be over. They've got to be able to overcome that, even against a team like Kansas City at their home field. You've got to be able to overcome that even without your left tackle, even without one of your top receivers. If they're the team that they hope to be, that they want to be, then that should have no impact on how they perform in that environment. And that is something that would just be, I would consider an excuse. because they just did not play well. They had drops, they had penalties. That had nothing to do with a couple of key guys missing that game.
Daryl, it feels like the NFL has wanted some parity, and we're getting it now. The last couple of weeks have been weird. You look at the way the Bills lost to the Colts, and I'm sure Buffalo Sports Talk Radio similar, like those of us that cover the Cowboys. You look at two clunkers out of 3 weeks. I mean, they lost to Jacksonville. Now they got blown at home by the Colts. Green Bay losing to Minnesota yesterday. I don't know how you explain the Texans beating the Titans yesterday on the road, what the Eagles did to the Saints. It's interesting because I think this is what the NFL wants. It's just weird seeing it.
Well, if we go back, I mean, we were, about 6 weeks in, and we had those teams at the top of the NFC, and everybody was saying how, we're going to have, 4 dominant teams in the NFC conference, and then it's going to be a race for those other 3 spots from this group. And, those teams at the top are starting to drift back. The teams in the middle are starting to push up. So it is definitely becoming a season of parity this year. And we're having huge comebacks, teams that are falling behind by double digits and coming back and winning. We're having, teams with great records losing to teams with looking at it, you would think they wouldn't have a chance to win that game. And the one you bring up, the Houston-Tennessee game is a great example. Listen, Derrick Henry is a unique running back in this league, but he's not that, for Houston to come in and be able to do that. But, they also lost to the Jets. Tennessee did. So, I mean, that's just an odd thing for them. I think as soon as we think we know who the dominant teams are in the conference, all of a sudden they hit a little bit of a road bump. And, 3 weeks ago, the Bills were considered the best team in the NFL. And,
it's crazy.
Obviously that is not the case anymore.
And then you look at Arizona going in and beating Seattle with Colt McCoy.
Yes. Colt McCoy won, he's won 2 out of 3. And it's funny during the off season, there's signings that happen and, nobody really talks about them a whole lot. I remember when that signing happened and just to, the fact that Struggler came in late in the year and played the way he did, it's not a fit. It's not a fit for what they're trying to do. Colt McCoy is not Kyler Murray, but he's going to be able to get in there and work within the structure of that offense and be effective. And he's going to be smart and he's not going to beat himself. And he's done that 2 out of 3 opportunities. So I just, in years past when Kyler Murray has been out of the lineup, and that's one of the things, Steve Keim deserves a lot of credit because he knows his starting quarterback is not going to make it through the season healthy all 17 games. And he knew he had to upgrade his backup quarterback. I think it's one of the savvier moves, during the course of this offseason that nobody really talked about.
He is Daryl Johnston, 3-time Super Bowl champion with the Dallas Cowboys. He's an analyst on Fox, and he's got a new title, Executive Vice President of Football Operations for the USFL, which is officially back. You were officially announced with the new title late last week, at least publicly. I guess you've probably known you got the gig for a while. But today the cities and logos were announced and for the 8 teams. Now, Daryl, you and I got to know each other really well here in San Antonio with the Commanders during the Alliance days. I was a little surprised and honestly disappointed San Antonio's not in the mix with the USFL, at least not at the beginning.
Yes, not in the original rollout. But the San Antonio Gunslingers are one of the teams from the USFL. We're hoping to have success this time and be able to push this into season 2, season 3. And hopefully as that starts to happen, we can bring back some of the other franchises that were a part of the USFL and San Antonio, because of the response and that we had with the Commanders down there. I mean, they have been the envy of the XFL, even the talk with the NFL now. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, they started to put out some press releases, about potential expansion and what the cities would be, and San Antonio is a part of that. So it's the fans of San Antonio have earned the right, to have a team there, and not just a spring league team. I really feel that they've earned the right, to have an NFL team in that city. The support that they showed us was unbelievable from day one. I saw it, with the Saints when Katrina was there, and they spent 5 weeks down in San Antonio. I reached out to the San Francisco 49ers when they had their issues last year. Mayor Nurnberg, contacted me, and I reached out to John Lynch, to see if they wanted to come down to San Antonio, that San Antonio, would welcome the franchise with open arms, and they had already made their plans to go to Arizona. But that's the type of mayor you have. He's going to be a forward-thinking guy. He knows the importance and the value of having a franchise like that, in San Antonio. So I hope the time is near, that the NFL recognizes, the fan support and the love of football down in San Antonio, because we've seen it demonstrated time and time again. And, if the NFL is not going to be there soon, I hope that the USFL will. And I can't imagine, as we move out to the West, if you kind of look at how the structure of that league is going to be right now, it's 4 Northern and 4 Southern. We really have it. We've got Houston and we've got New Orleans. So, San Antonio can be a fit. The big thing will be the geography of the team. So as we start to slide, I'm going to be pushing for San Antonio just based on my experiences. So you've got a huge supporter and a huge fan of the San Antonio sports community, that's in a decision-making area for the USFL.
We know that you will champion the city. My biggest concern, and you've been in meetings, so you will be able to answer this far better than me, but it seems like with the alliance, with the XFL, which you were also a part of, it seemed like the teams that did the best with corporate sponsors, ticket sales, and merchandise were football-hungry cities that also did not have an NFL team in them. And when I look at the NFL cities of the original 8 here for the rebirth of the USFL, you're in a lot of NFL cities. I thought that maybe the new spring leagues would try to avoid that.
Yes. The XFL did it. And, I was kind of surprised, because I thought we had success with the model that you're talking about. And the one city that we did see that support in was St. Louis, a team that had an NFL team and lost an NFL team twice. So that was the best fan base in the XFL. So, yeah, there's definitely that void of not having the NFL team in the city, I think works well. But I think, when Fox purchased the rights to the USFL, they got everything. They got, the cities, the colors, the logos, the mascots. So it was best for them to stay, true to what the original vision was. And we've gotten a lot of positive feedback, and people are excited for the fact that, you're going to get to see the Tampa Bay Bandits and the Houston Gamblers and, the teams that they remember, on the first go around with the USFL. So, there is a little bit of that there, but that does horseshoe into Philadelphia, into Pittsburgh. The Michigan team will play probably out of Detroit. So to your point, yeah, we are in a lot of cities that have that carryout. Of the original ones coming out, Birmingham is the only city that doesn't have NFL representation of the 8 that we're going to start the journey with.
And I'll tell you what, Daryl, and you know that I'm a big fan of spring football after the experiences with the Alliance. If you guys can get through one season without either somebody running out of money or a pandemic hitting, and you get through that first season and get to year 2, this will work. It's just, for something just has to do whatever it can to get through that first year.
I agree. And I think that's why, everybody's excited about this. And when I talk to people, it's amazing the response from people I thought that would be hesitant to be a part, just because of the failures of the other 2 leagues. But I think that they recognize that as well, that if it weren't for some very strange circumstances, some self-inflicted, some without, outside of our control, getting to year 2, I think really, proves that there's an opportunity for this to work. And I think the way that we have everything structured so far this time, going to one host city and minimizing the expenses coming out there in year 1 and really concentrating and focusing on the product of the quality of football and the quality of the football players, in our league, and the distribution, of the product to the fans, around the country. We're going to really, really be hyper-focused on those important areas and try to grow, the support, for our teams. And then once we leave, that host city and the teams go back, that'll give them a year, over a year to kind of build the excitement for those teams to arrive into the host cities.
And again, I think if the weird circumstances of the alliance, and then, of course, the pandemic. Obviously, TV ratings were solid enough for Fox to say, we're buying that, and we are going to do what it takes to make it work. So when do we actually see spring football with the USFL?
We're going to go. We got a pretty aggressive timeline. We're going to go spring of 2022. We're going to go this spring.
Okay.
So we're not the traditional calendars that were used the last 2 years. That weekend after the Super Bowl, we're actually going to push it back. We've run some analytics, and we think we found a better window that gives us a little bit more time, to get this up and running. So that'll be helpful. Number one, to make sure that we get this done the right way. Organizing everything and launching it. But number two, I think the other important thing is just, as you pointed out, moving forward, into year two, there's this window that we've selected that we feel is a real downtime in sports. It gives the football fan a little bit of a break after the Super Bowl. We're not putting our product right up against, the NFL product and the two best teams in the NFL and the most watched game around the world. Happening the week before we're starting. We're going to get a little bit of distance away from that. Let the football fans, kind of catch their breath a little bit, and then once they want to start watching some football again, we'll be ready to get up and running. And we're going to be kind of pushing ourselves towards the middle and making the calendar friendly. So if guys do catch some NFL eyes, there's time for them to get into an NFL camp. It'll be a little bit tighter fit than it was for the Alliance or the XFL, but it'll still provide them the time, to get into an NFL camp.
It's going to be exciting times. Can't wait for it to get started. Can't wait for there to be a team in San Antonio. Daryl, always appreciate the time, my friend. Have a happy Thanksgiving. We'll talk to you next Monday.
Yes, you too, Jason. Have a great Thanksgiving. Have a happy Thanksgiving to everybody listening.
Appreciate it. Daryl the Moose Johnston, 3-time Super Bowl champion, Mondays with the Moose. You heard some very interesting things there when it comes to pro football in San Antonio and the aggressive nature of our mayor, Ron Nirenberg, behind the scenes. That was good stuff. Jeff Traylor will join us in about 10 minutes. Stick around for that. We'll hear from the UTSA head football coach. If you're having any issues at the house with your plumbing, your heating, your AC, there is one company to call, and that is Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heating, and AC. 210-651-5899. Keep the number handy. You got a cold front moving in this week. Maybe you got a lot of family coming into town. When you got a lot of company and your toilet's working overtime, sometimes there's an issue. You need to get it fixed in a hurry. That's Quarter Moon, 24/7, even during holidays. Their service trucks are fully stocked, and they have all the equipment needed for any job. No commission. Sales reps, they'll provide estimates and second opinions. They have a great experienced staff that has earned an A-plus ranking with the Better Business Bureau. 210-651-5899 for Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heating, and AC, or go to the website, quartermoonplumbing.com.
Saturday afternoons mean one thing: college football. Hear games from all Power 5 conferences all season long, every Saturday from San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
There's confusion about how to protect yourself from COVID. One thing is certain. Whether or not you're vaccinated, you need an accurate thermometer to check for fever, the leading sign of flu and COVID. Be vigilant and contact your medical provider at the first sign of fever. Don't rely on non-contact thermometers that have no scientific studies. Only the Exergen temporal scanner thermometer has been proven accurate in more than 100 clinical studies. Learn more at exergen.com.
Finding the right Medicare plan may feel impossible, but now it's anything but. With Walgreens Find RX coverage tool, you can compare plans online, over the phone, or in person, making Medicare easier than ever. Easier than picking which true crime doc to watch, figuring out that Wi-Fi password, or putting the duvet cover back on. So if you can do those things, with Find RX coverage, you can definitely Medicare. Find the plan that's right for you by visiting walgreens.com/Medicare.
Looking for a protein-packed snack to power you through the day? Of course you are. Only Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds have the bold flavors that stand out in the Me Too snack aisle. Sea salt and cracked black pepper, pineapple ancho chili, pasilla chili cheese, and more. Take your snacking to higher flavor levels with Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds. And keto fans, you're going to love this low-carb crunch. Visit your local H-E-B and southernrecipesmallbatch.com to see the power of the rinds.
Southern Recipe pork rinds.
If you and your spouse went from I do to I don't, it may be time to walk down a new aisle. Call DivorceDude.com at 210-201-0303 and ask for Mark, the Divorce Dude with Polling Law PLLC. DivorceDude.com can help you get a fast, affordable, agreed divorce. But if you want to fight, the Divorce Dude can fight for you. DivorceDude.com gives you easy legal options and sticks with you every step of the way. If the marriage is over, why fight? DivorceDude.com.
Guys, stop what you're doing. Give me a few seconds of your time and let me give you a piece of advice that will change your love life forever. Have you noticed you've been losing a little pep in your step? Has your lady friend asked you, is everything okay? Do you find yourself having trouble rising for the occasion? Do you stress out before that special moment and wonder, is it gonna work? Guys, I'm going to let you in on a big secret. You don't ever have to worry again. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula has you covered. Mojo is the 100% guaranteed male enhancement formula that guarantees lasting success, if you know what I mean. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula is safe, natural, and effective every single time, guaranteed. Mojo is available in a fast-acting spray and a quick-action capsule. Do yourself and her a favor and call Pure Line Nutrition in San Antonio today. They'll get you set up for success. Call 210-494-2210. That number again is 210-494-2210. Mojo Male Enhancement, only available at Pure Line Nutrition.
This is the place where time stands still, with each down is a battle of inches.
How about 83 yards from Prescott to Elliott?
This is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
This is Carl Schoening on your home for Texas Rangers baseball. San Antonio's Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Jeff Traylor, the UTSA head football coach, will join us in just a couple of minutes. At 6:15, Eric Morris of the UIW Cardinals, he will be on. You know, our April Lancira started a project, if you will, to raise money so UTSA students can go to the Conference USA championship game. Because it's a championship game, students don't get in free. So April put up $5,000 and UTSA put up a link that is now over $12,500. And this is just in a couple hours, which is awesome. Greg Luca, who covers the Roadrunners for the Express News, tweeted this out. He screenshotted one of the donations. Somebody goes by the name of El Duderino, donated $420.69. Perfect. You can't make that up. It's a hell of a screen grab. Go find the link. You can donate to it. Help some students get to the Conference USA championship game. $420.69. One heck of a donation. Jeff Traylor, he will join us next. Brought to you by our friends over at Pinkerton's Barbecue at 6:15. Eric Morris of UIW. We'll talk to Clint Stoerner. Spurs are in action tonight. They've got the Phoenix Suns. Suns have won 12 in a row. Whew. It's going to be a interesting night for the San Antonio Spurs. You know, I had some friends from out of town in over the weekend and did some grilling yesterday. You know, they live over in Germany right now, stationed Air Force types. They're in Germany. And, you know, so we're cooking. So what do? I got some kielbasa smoked sausage, and we had that on the grill yesterday. Went with the roasted garlic and the cheddar, had some jalapenos. It was fantastic because if you want the best sausage on the planet, you know it is Kielbasa Smoke Meats, a great local San Antonio company. Told them about sausage wraps because that's how we do it here, and that's the way Kielbasa has decided we do it. We're watching football. That's what you need to do. And, you know, great little fun fact. The length of the kielbasa sausage was selected so it will fit perfectly in a tortilla. So you think about football this weekend. While it is about the turkey, it's not all turkey, right? Get to the store, get your cold beverages, get your tortillas, and get yourself some kielbasa before all the big football games. Just make sure you get some kielbasa today.
The college football tradition lives here with in-depth analysis and breakdowns from our team during the week of the Aggies, the Longhorns, UTSA, and more. Catch the gridiron action on Saturdays with live play-by-play from around the country. Bowl season. The college football playoff and the national championship comes to life right here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
O'Reilly. Don't miss See Better, Drive Safer month at O'Reilly Auto Parts with great deals on wiper blades, headlight bulbs, and more. Right now, get up to a $20 gift card after mail-in rebate with the purchase of select Sylvania bulbs. Plus, earn double O Rewards points with your purchase. Get ready for the weather ahead during See Better, Drive Safer month at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
Dimes Direct celebrates the holidays with you with a magical offer to make your dream gift more affordable than ever. Starting this Friday, we're offering 4 years zero-interest financing. Has she been dreaming of a new engagement ring, a bigger diamond, an elegant pair of diamond earrings, or a stunning diamond eternity band? With this amazing offer, you can afford to go big this Christmas. Just pick any item, get the unbeatable value price Diamonds Direct is known for, and spread your payments over 4 years with zero interest. Think about a $9,000 designer ring comes out to just $188 a month. At Diamonds Direct, our showcases are filled this year with gifts you'll absolutely love. Gifts that will last a lifetime. Colored gemstones, all new designer jewelry from New York and LA, and the biggest collection of rare, precious diamonds we've ever offered. It all starts Black Friday. Diamonds Direct special holiday finance offer. Get holiday hours, directions, and see exclusive online Black Friday offers at diamondsdirect.com. On approved credit.
We will buy no used car before it's time. We will pay the top money because we know exactly what we're doing at GiveMeTheVin.com. We've bought $1 billion with a B of used cars from you guys in 2021 already because this used car market's on fire. $1 billion in volume. We're paying so much it's scary. Only at GiveMeTheVin.com.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Live, local, loud. KZDC, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Jason Minix, The Blitz.
It is The Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Glad you're listening right now because, man, UTSA is on fire. 11-0, incredible win Saturday in the Alamo Dome as they knock off UAB 34-31 with a late touchdown to get the W. Let's talk about it with the head coach of the UTSA Roadrunners, Jeff Traylor, joining us now, brought to you by Pinkerton's Barbecue. Coach, I know the 24-hour rule is expired, but we've got to go back and talk about that incredible game on Saturday.
Thanks for having me on, Jason. Appreciate it.
I tell you what, great crowd, and love the helmets. I noticed when they came out for the coin toss, you had your captains were wearing 2, 1, and 0, which I thought was fantastic. And everything went according to plan, just the way you talked about last week, that it was going to come down to the final play of the game, and it did.
Yeah, my coaches have asked me to stop speaking things into existence unless it's going to be a lot more at ease in the fourth quarter. So no predictions this week. I'm just going to do my best to shut up and try to coach a little football.
Well, all right. So, I mean, you look at the game, and UAB is a good football team, and there were some points in the game where your team, and you trust your team. That 51-yard field goal ties a career long for Hunter, and I thought that was an interesting call at the time. But man, he nailed that kick, and you needed every one of those points. In your mind, at 51, were you thinking, man, is this the right decision to make?
Well, you always are, but he's one of the best kickers in the country, and I'm never going to take the ball off his foot. That's just not good coaching. And dumb loses more than smart wins, and it just would have been pretty dumb to not let one of the best kickers in the history of our school indoors not try to get 3 points against a very, very good defense.
I totally agree. And again, he nails it. So, it's all good. They have the ball. They've got to make a decision. Fourth and inches. And they punted it away. I probably would have gone for it and tried to end the game, but I understand, their coach saying, you know what, I'd rather punt them deep, and I trust my defense that we're not going to let them go 80 yards and win this thing. Were you at all surprised that they punted that?
No, because I know Bill so well. Bill's a defensive football coach. He's still very heavily involved in the defense, and I knew that's what he would do. Our defense is very good, and we do make negative plays throughout the year. We didn't in that game. We had really struggled tackling 22. We didn't tackle very well in the game. We had 14 missed tackles. So I know that's what I felt very confident he'd punt it back to us. And I thought the spot was generous at best. I thought it was really about fourth and a yard and a half.
I did too. I try not to ask too often, Coach, about bad officiating. And so I won't ask you about the spot or the replay issue, but I will ask, in the NFL, when they mess up, they send apology letters. Do they do that in Conference USA, and did you get one today?
They don't give apology letters, but we send in the plays we are concerned about. They evaluate it, they write it up, and send it back to us. That'll probably happen, by Thursday of this week.
And again, you got the win, so it doesn't matter. And I will say this. That was a bad call. We could all see it on the replay, but again, I know coaches don't ever like to go there, so I won't ask you about that. But if they do get an apology letter, maybe tweet it out so we can all see it, because there are 35,000 people in there that thought the officials got that one wrong. But let's talk about, they punted to you, and what is the communication like with your team in a situation like that? Just over a minute to play. You've got 77 yards to go. You don't have timeouts. I thought a very key play was a receiver with the awareness to get out of bounds to stop the play. How much of that is communication going on as your team is going on to start that drive?
Well, anytime you're having to do that kind of communication in the game, it makes me wonder what the heck you've been doing in practice for all these years, right? So that's situations we work. Obviously, we remind them, get out of bounds if you can. If you're below the hash or the number out there, get to the sideline. If you're in the middle, get the first down. Hurry up and line up. But no more than that, because we work that situation every Thursday. And we had to go about 80 yards in about 60 seconds. So your common sense tells you you're going to probably get 6 plays off. And that's about how it went down. And the kids executed it fantastic. They stayed calm and cool. And we've already had the drive scripted. We thought they'd be in what they do during their 2-minute defense, and they did what they had done on their 2-minute defense. And Frank made some amazing plays, and our receivers made some amazing plays, and the rest is history.
The rest is history. Now let's talk about the history-making play, because there was a lot of things that went into one play that we are going to talk about forever. That was not the way you drew it up. As you were watching it unfold, what did you see?
Well, we knew we had him, on the F-pop, and so I was watching him. I wasn't watching the snap. I wanted to see if the guy was going to bite, and I saw him turn him loose immediately. So I was wondering what was taking the ball so long to get to him. I didn't know what Frank was looking at. Well, then I looked down, the ball's on the ground, and, what's amazing about that is Sincere had the presence of mind. He's about to kick it, and he picks his foot up right over the top of it, and Frank scoops up off the ground, and Frank, being Frank, just kind of rolls out there, buys a little time, and just puts it barely over the outreach hands of number 50, who actually tipped it a little bit. So, it was very dramatic, and Maka feels terrible about it. But, the snap was low, and we pulled it off, and great concentration by Oscar to seal the deal.
Well, and Coach, you're talking about sincere kick the ball. I didn't even think about that. I was looking at Frank, thinking the awareness of him not to try to pick it up with his knee on the ground.
Well, go back and watch Sincere's right foot, Jason. He's about to kick it right to their linebacker, and he just holds his foot up in the air, and Frank kind of scoops it under there and comes out of there with it. It's an amazing play by Sincere to not get the ball game over. How terrible would that have been to them to recover that on the 1-inch line? That would have been hard to take right now, Jason.
We would, I don't know, you might have called in sick for doing this. I mean, if that were to happen. But all right, so the students are on the field. You get into the locker room, you get to talk to your team. What was that moment like?
You know, it's one of the first times in my career I didn't get to see my team. They were all outside, still doing fan stuff. We were everywhere. And I've never had a game where I didn't get to see my team. The first time I saw them was back in the team meeting Sunday night at 5:15. So there was no post game. They did. I got to see them in the locker room just partying and singing and having a blast. But I did not call them up and actually give them a formal speech. I just watched them. I really did. I just crossed my arms and watched them and just soaked it all in because they were having an absolute blast, and I wasn't going to ruin the moment.
Well, Coach Traylor, seeing all the photos, I mean, that looked like a great time. And again, I know there's still work to do, but you talk about giving speeches. I'm going to ask you a question, and this is actually a question from April Lansira, who texted me that says, ask Coach this. So I'm going to just read you the text verbatim. She says, ask him, quote, there have been 3 games where at half things aren't going well. In all 3 games, something was said in that locker room because a different team ran out of the tunnel and took care of business. What the hell did he say? End quote.
Well, this one was not like the other 2. This one was a much calmer Coach Traylor, and they were doing some things a little different. They were a great stretch team out of the pistol. They had broken some tendencies. We had given our kids a few not good calls, honestly. Our kids responded to me. They wanted to play a lot more base the second half, which means our base defense. And they promised me they were going to take care of it. And we didn't tackle real well the first half. And it's one of those kind of deals where I did not go in and scream and holler. The other 2 times she's talking about, we accidentally broke a dry erase board last year in the Louisiana Tech game. And the Memphis game, we were, I was a little disappointed. But anyway, that's another story. But in this game, we were calm, cool, and collected and just made adjustments. Coach Wright and Coach Lepp did a fantastic job. And, man, I think we gave up 350, Jason, the first half. And I think we gave up 90 in the second half, something like that.
Yeah, well, whatever you did, it worked. Jeff Traylor, the head football coach at UTSA, joining us here on the Blitz. You got the win. Another oddball question. I saw this on Twitter. There were 3 of those incredibly cool-looking 2-0 helmets go missing after the on-field celebration. 1, do you get them back, or did you get those 3 back? But 2, what do you do with those helmets, all the cool different helmets that you have? What happens to them after the one-game use?
Well, we just, dress them up again. I mean, we've got a few of those helmets down there, but there's some way or another Stretch is going to get some use out of it. They'll have different decals, different colors. And I need to ask him the real specifics about what all happens. Like, what are we going to do about those 3 kids? I hope he's got 3 backups for them ready to go this week. I'm sure Mike Bazemore is getting some kind of PO right now, request in purchase order, so we can get some helmets. And Stretch was just crushed. We lost 3 helmets. I'm like, Stretch, we had 100-something kids dressed out. I think you did pretty good with that many people on the field and that much pandemonium going on. So he does a fantastic job with our equipment. And how beautiful was that 2-1-0 on the helmet? And I appreciate you, Jason, noticing that we intentionally set our captains out there as the 2, the 1, and 0 this week, just to let San Antonio know how much we appreciate them. And they were the difference in the ball game as much as our players. I mean, it literally is a game of inches. That game was a literal game of an inch. And in so many ways, from the tip to the fourth down in the inch, and our crowd had a ton to do with that.
And while it was announced at 35,000, it seems like today 140,000 were in the dome. So we want to make sure they're there for the Conference USA Championship game. But I know that violates culture pillars because you still have to take care of business against North Texas. And knowing that you've got a berth in the championship game, Is the motivation this week to keep a perfect season intact?
It's a really good question. It's a very fair question. But here's what we've decided. I mean, they're coming to ruin our season, right? They want to ruin it. Well, we want to ruin theirs too. I mean, they're 5-6. If they beat us, they've won 4 games in a row. Coach Luttrell's done a fantastic job. Those kids are playing lights out right now. And why not? Let's ruin their season. If we beat them, they don't go to a bowl. If they beat us, it ruins our perfect season. So we've got something to play for too. We'll be smart with kids, obviously. We're not going to press them through a game if they're slightly injured in this game. But the kids that can go are going to go Saturday. And the only thing we're going to speak about on that conference championship game as a team, we're very grateful for people like April and Sarah who have already started raising money so our students can go to the game for free for the conference championship. Other than that, we're not going to talk about it. We're only going to discuss North Texas and how good they've been. And that's all. That's where we're going to stay.
And with Thanksgiving this week and the game on Saturday, what do you do for your team on a holiday?
Wednesday night, we're having Thanksgiving together. We're going to get together and just like a family would do. We're going to stand up. Our super seniors are going to stand up and tell us what they're thankful for. Our seniors are going to stand up and tell us what they're thankful for. And we're going to laugh and we're going to have fun and we're going to eat and hopefully not talk about football one time. Just talk about what we're thankful for. Just corny, old-fashioned turkey dressing, cranberry, some pecan pie, some Cool Whip on top, and just enjoy each other. Now, Thursday, we'll practice in the morning, which I know that sounds terrible, but we got to still practice. And
at what time in the morning?
We'll do a normal schedule. It's a normal week for these guys. Nothing changes for these guys. It's a normal week.
That's awesome. Well, go beat North Texas this week. Next Monday, we'll talk to you and get in to what's going to happen next Friday night. Congratulations. An incredible scene, history-making scene in San Antonio. Probably one of the top 5 big moments in Alamo Dome history. I mean, that was just a lot of fun to be a part of. Coach, congratulations. Continued success. Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll visit next week.
Same to you, Jason. Appreciate all you do for us. God bless and birds up.
Birds up for sure. UTSA closes out the regular season against North Texas. And you heard him say, I mean, it's hard at this point, I would think, to get up for a game this Saturday. Now, North Texas is a big rival game, and you want to keep that perfect season intact. And typically, coaches will say, that doesn't matter as long as they get to the championship game healthy and all that. But there is something special for having an undefeated season, and he wants to motivate his players to do that. Now, they are on the road this week, which means for you as football fans, there's something special that's been happening here in San Antonio when it comes to college football. We've been talking about it a lot on the Blitz. So this Saturday, those guys are on the road. The UIW Cardinals are hosting a playoff game Saturday at Benson Stadium at 2 o'clock. Now, we generally talk with Eric Morris on Thursdays, but that's Thanksgiving, and I'm taking the day off. Yeah, he's going to be working at practice, would probably love to do an interview. But Eric Morris, head football coach of UIW, joining us now on the Blitz because, this is the first time UIW has ever hosted a playoff game. This is going to be a big, big week for the Cardinals.
Oh, it's a big week. It started yesterday. It's been, fast and hectic. And, I still have to game plan right now. I'm used to just sitting in my office and coming up with crazy football plays all day. But today I had all kinds of meetings with the NCAA and, all these crazy rules about hosting a game. And so it's been a little bit more hours up here than normal just because I have to kind of weed through all the fuss. And then our kids are out of school this week. So trying to plan on, what we're going to feed them for Thanksgiving. Lunch is always a big deal around here. Get to gather and play football during Thanksgiving is definitely a blessing. But we got, I think Bill Millers is going to hook us up with some turkey and dressing.
That's going to be fantastic. And you look at, first off, crazy rules for hosting a game. I know a lot of it's probably administrative crap that most of us don't care about. But is there anything really weird that you're going, are you kidding me?
There was a couple today. The NCAA is sponsored by Powerade, and we're sponsored by Gatorade. So, we can't have any signage that has Gatorade. Then they're going to play all their advertisement during the game, none of ours. if our kids aren't suited up, they can't be on the sideline. So only 64 on both sidelines, and then only 40 sideline passes. And so, that's part of the Nest experience is we have a bunch of people on the sideline having a good time on the tents out there. Hopefully Cardinals Club isn't part of the sideline, so people can still have a ice cold frosty Bronson while they enjoy a Saturday afternoon game, right?
Absolutely, because I know where I like to end up when I'm at a UIW game, where I will be at this Saturday, 2:00. And what's cool too, and again, we were just talking to Coach Traylor. They're on the road. You're a college football fan. Go watch UIW play a playoff game against a good Stephen F. Austin team. Take the family, because when the game is over, go walk on campus and light the way and all the Christmas lights. That's a hell of a Saturday.
It's a perfect time to be here. Our administration, our campus, is going to do a phenomenal job of hosting this thing. And like you said, two really good football programs, I think, on the rise. Coach Carthell's done an amazing job flipping that thing around. He's a West Texas boy, just like me, from down the road.
He's
in Freona.
nuts, though. He's crazy.
He's crazy, but his team responds well to him. They play extremely hard. They have the best defense statistically that we've played all year, and it's not even close. They've been shutting people out here of late. So, just to come out and watch, a great quarterback and Cameron Ward go against one of the top defenses of the country, I think will be a lot of fun in itself.
How, knowing that they used to be a conference rival, you've played them a lot, but does any of that experience help you in preparing this week for getting them on Saturday?
I think it probably helps them a little bit just because they've been here. They know the layout of our stadium. They know kind of what to expect here at the Nest. But I think our rosters have changed so quickly. It just looks completely different. Even when we played them 2 years ago, we went back and watched some of that tape just to kind of see what they did to us. And there's not one starter that we have on offense that started for us 2 years ago on that team. And then they've done a great job, too. I think there was a cornerback that plays for them. And other than that, they have a bunch of great transfer defensive linemen and some young players, young secondary that's playing extremely good. So yeah, I think that we know a little bit about the scheme because we played against each other. But at the same time, I think both of us have done a great job of adding great quality players to our roster that's going to be a little bit different.
Well, and again, I think about the game this week. At first, I was hoping that you guys would get somebody that, I don't know, isn't used to playing in warm weather. And when I say warm, whatever it's going to be Saturday, they're used to none degrees and they're going to be hot. I'm not a big fan of how the bracket laid out with Stephen F. Austin. And then in round two, you get Sam Houston State. They went very regional this year, which seems a little unusual. But at the same time, it is kind of fun because there's probably some San Antonio kids on that Stephen F. Austin roster. And, there's some, might know this, might know that. It's going to be a fun game because of the brand of football that they play.
Yeah, no doubt. And when we went to the playoffs, I guess 2-3 years ago, we started off at Montana State, and, there's 3 foot of snow on the ground when we got there. And our kids, it was like 12 degrees outside. They were freezing. It was a great experience for us, but I'm glad that we're playing at home. We're going to be familiar with our home stadium, kind of what goes on around here. I think it's going to be 62 degrees, which is cold by our standards here in San Antonio. But yeah, and once you get in this playoff format, you got to beat the best if you want the trophy at the end of this thing. So it is what it is. We're going to have to beat those teams at some point if we want to win this whole thing. And so, it's win or go home. And so I think our kids are locked in. But yeah, it's going to be fun. We recruited a lot of kids on their roster and vice versa. And so just adds a little bit more to the pot there.
What are they doing differently this year? I admittedly have only watched one SFA game, and that was the Battle of the Piney Woods, and Sam Houston didn't have their quarterback in that game. And, Sam Houston barely won that game, but they didn't look overly impressive in that game. What are they doing now that they weren't doing earlier in the season that you're going to be focused on all week?
I think the same thing. You saw it in Sam Houston game is Stephen F. should have beat them. They converted like a couple fourth downs there at the end of the game to kind of go ahead late in the game. They kind of dominated the whole game defensively, and that's mostly what I watch is the defensive side of the ball. But I tell you, they should have beat Texas Tech. They had it 1st and goal to win that game. and then they lost at the very end to a really good Jacksonville State team. And so, I mean, they're 3 or 4 plays away from being undefeated, but they play great defense. That's what they pride themselves upon. And then on offense, I think they like to control the ball, establish a run game, and they have a really explosive wideout that they want to, once they lull you to sleep by running the ball, then they'll, shoot him down the field because he's the fastest guy on the field. He'll be the fastest guy on the field on Saturday. So we got to contain him, know where he's at all times. We got to stop the run game. But I think, they're good old-fashioned, control the clock. And, I think that's a plan that they'll try to take in with us is keep our offense off the field and kind of just slowly, meticulously move the ball down the field and take a couple surprise shots here and there.
Eric Morris, the head football coach of the UIW Cardinals, joining us here on the Blitz. I think about a couple of your games recently. Houston Baptist, comfortable win. That's what we were seeing from you guys earlier. Cam Ward just doing his thing. But you look at the game against Southeastern and the game against Nichols. You won those in 2 very different ways, but you faced adversity in both of those games, including being down early and had to rally back. How much do those experiences help you in a game like this against Stephen F?
I think they're huge. I think we're a battle-tested team right now. I think that gives us, that sense of that we're in any game and that, the defense can bail us out if needed and the offense can as well. And so, I think if any of those, your character continues to grow, you learn from those situations. But, once you get into these playoff games, I think just all the little things just start to magnify a little bit. I mean, we need to win the turnover battle. They're a team that, is top 10 in the nation at getting turnovers. And then just, us not committing any dumb penalties. We had a couple personal fouls that just can't happen that we had against HBU. I mean, you're not going to be able to overcome those little things in a championship caliber game like this. And so we got to focus in. We got to win the turnover battle, number one, and then we can't allow ourselves to shoot ourselves in the foot at any point in this game.
As great as Cam Ward has been, you go back to the spring to this year. Brown is a running back. Your offensive line has played extremely well for the most part this year, but they've played a lot of football. And you think about, you go from spring off season to where you are now. How is the health of your team as you start this incredibly important run, trying to go win a national championship in January?
I think pretty good. We're starting 2 freshmen up front, offensive line wise, and then we're starting a couple guys on the back end on our defense that are freshmen as well. And so, those are the guys that just haven't had the off seasons that you would like them to have to kind of prepare their bodies to take this toll on it. I think it was really pivotal last week. We were able to pretty much pull everybody at halftime. We'd had a lot of snaps, especially on the defensive side of the ball against Nichols and C-Law. And so we were able to kind of rest those guys. And then I didn't practice them on Monday. I'm going to, some coaches, you get to the playoffs and they want to ramp everything up and they kind of, try to micromanage everything. Let's do this, let's do that. And I kind of went opposite. I think we got a bunch of older guys that understand how to play fast. And it's important at this point in the season that we're fresh. And so we didn't practice at all yesterday or Sunday. So I gave them a little bit of extra rest, knowing that this becomes a time of the year that having fresh legs is going to be huge for us.
You know what I just heard, Coach? You have no idea what day of the week it is.
What is today?
Today is Monday.
Yeah,
you feel like it's. Have you already moved over to Tuesday or Wednesday?
Yeah. Usually I'm so far behind. Usually, I'm ahead, and I get up here at 6 a.m. at Sunday, and I can kind of start working through everything. But we didn't get film until 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon because we found out about 12:30 who were playing. So last night was a late night, and then today was an early morning, about 4 o'clock when I strolled in here to kind of get all my thoughts down on paper. And but yeah, so we didn't practice Sunday or we didn't practice today. We'll jump at it tomorrow.
That was great. That was one of the most coaching things I've heard you say. You don't know what day it is. It's a day that ends in Y. I mean, hell, I don't know.
I'm telling you, until no school this week, and so the scheduling of this thing has been unique, but wouldn't want it any other way.
No, and again, I mean, I know it's a holiday, and your regular season is officially over. Knowing you planned to be busy this week, right? But at the same time, you like to fire up the smoker. So I know what you're doing with the team, but what is happening? What is going on the Eric Morris Grill at the Morris household?
I'm telling you, I don't think I'll bust it out this year. Usually, my uncle has a ranch in Llano, so my whole family goes to Llano, and we have a great time. You know, smoking every single day, riding horses, get out and shoot a deer or a pig, and then just be able to enjoy, you know, some late night campfires with the family. But my wife's going to take the kids on Wednesday and Thursday to enjoy some family time. I wish I was like you. I saw the pictures of you out there hunting and took down some kind of ram out there. But, you know, I'll save that for the week after. I'll keep pushing that stuff back and back and back as long as we can keep winning games.
Absolutely. Get your tickets. Get out to Benson Stadium this Saturday afternoon at uiwcardinals.com/tickets, or you can call 210-805-3000. I assume that's right? Or does the NCAA handle all the tickets? Either way, the links are going to be on the social medias. We'll be able to find the tickets and get that information out.
Perfect. Get them out. Yeah, I think it's ncaa.com/tickets, and it'll have a link that'll direct them to our game here.
And we will tweet out the tickets. And again, I can't wait to be out there tailgate with the Forever First cards. They always put on a fun environment. I know you don't get to enjoy that part either, Coach, but I will. And then we'll have a good time watching you guys beat Stephen F. Austin.
I like it. Yes, come out, pack the nest Saturday afternoon, and then just like you said, go and tour the lights on campus are fabulous. If you've never been to Light the Way or seen Incarnate Word during Christmas time, I highly suggest you doing that.
We're going to do it this week. In fact, when I told that to my wife, she was like, you know, we haven't done that since I graduated. And that's been a long time.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Well, I mean, from what I remember, I mean, because, you know, it's a funny story, and not that, you know, you want to hear this, but, you know, back then I was doing Smithson Valley football, and whatever year she graduated, I missed a playoff game because it was her graduation. I did the good husband thing. It was Smithson Valley against Katy when Andy Dalton was the quarterback of the Katy Tigers.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen Light the Way.
Get out and enjoy it. You can catch it right after the game. You can drive through campus and enjoy it.
That's the plan. Eric Morris, head coach of UIW. Good luck this week. We'll see you down there Saturday.
Appreciate you guys.
Good stuff. Eric Morris, head football coach of the UIW Cardinals. And again, the tickets, if you go to the UIW Athletics Twitter page, those tickets are on sale now. And I'll tweet this link as well off of my Twitter and make sure we get it right. Coach Morris, always appreciate the time. We'll catch up soon. Eric Morris, head coach of UIW. You know, nobody ever plans on getting arrested, but it does happen to a lot of people every day for all kinds of reasons. If you get arrested, you want to get out of jail fast, best way to do that is to call my good friend Albert and his great staff at AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747, or you can even start the bonding process online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else to get out of jail, and you don't want to be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you a PR bond, make sure you understand what those conditions are before accepting it. Your best option, AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. Payment plans are available. They offer a free shuttle service. They're discreet and confidential and open 24/7 with offices all over San Antonio and Texas, services nationwide. For stress-free bail bonds, it's AA Best Bail Bonds, license number 149. Call 210-225-2121 or online at mybestbailbonds.com. We'll talk about how the Texans beat the Titans with Clint Stoerner. He joins us next after James Pledger gives us a Sports Center update.
Thanks a lot, Jason. In the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs return to action tonight as they're 4-14 and have lost 4 straight. They'll be welcoming to town the Phoenix Suns, who are 13-3 and have won 12 straight. Tip-off set for 7:30, and Game Night San Antonio will help to get you ready for it here on the Blitz. In college hoops, the Texas A&M Aggies fell earlier today in the Maui Invitational to the Wisconsin Badgers 69-58. They'll return to action tomorrow at 1:30 as they take on the loser between Houston and Butler going on right now. The UTSA Roadrunners fell to Texas A&M Corpus Christi yesterday 77-58 as they'll face Lamar Wednesday afternoon at 2 in the Convocation Center, while the Texas Longhorns beat San Jose State over the weekend 79-45 and will also return to action on Wednesday to take on California Baptist. In the USL, the San Antonio FC fell in the Western Conference Finals to Orange County SC after a scoreless or a 1-1 game through 2 overtimes. They will fall 5-3 in penalty kicks, ending their season. I'm James Pledger for San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Jason Minix here for River City Oral Surgery. If you need your wisdom teeth out, a tooth pulled, dental implants, you need to know about Dr. Mark Havercorn at River City Oral Surgery. He offers direct patient care, so you don't need a referral. You simply call, make an appointment, and all prices are listed on the website. That's one of the great things when you go to rivercityoms.com. Even if you have dental insurance, River City Oral Surgery will probably still be less, and all prices are all inclusive, including your post-op care. You know exactly what it's going to cost you before you go in. Free market medicine is the way to go. You know what you're going to pay, and you know you're getting the best care. People drive from all over the state to see Dr. Havercorn, who is an oral surgeon. He's a specialist medical doctor, and he treats people of all ages. Call 210-778-0002 or go to the website, rivercityoms.com, rivercityoms.com.
Cha-ching, cha-ching, let sleigh bells ring. It's Ewald Kubota's first annual Trade Orange for Green holiday cash offer. We know the idea of trading your trusted Kubota equipment for cash might be tough, but having some cash on hand right before the holidays just might be the cure. Or trade in for a new Kubota Sidekick, Kubota zero-turn mower, or a brand new Kubota SBL or compact tractor. It's your choice during Ewald Kubota's Trade Orange for Green holiday cash offer going on now.
The Roo Pub is the best place to watch a game. Football, basketball, the big fights, they have them on at the Roo on their 3 massive 170-inch laser screens and TVs all around. Come hungry, the food is fantastic, and the kitchen is open until 2 a.m. every day with the full menu available. The Roo Pub has the best darts area in town, indoor cornhole and weekday happy hour from 11 to 6. For lunch, dinner, or late at night, and the best place to watch a game, get into the Roo Pub at 281 in Redland Road. We'll see you at the Roo. Alamo Water Softeners is having a Black Friday special until November 27th. Purchase one of their bundles between today and November 27th and receive a free 1-year tune-up on your water softener and a free water heater flush. Jason Minix here. Alamo Water Softeners has water treatment bundles with special pricing to give your home the highest quality water treatment, and they're offering 0% financing for 2 years with approved credit. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference at alamowatersofteners.com. Injuries happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries and has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. There is no reason to be in pain. If you are hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Learn more at TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com, or schedule your appointment by calling 210-804-5490.
WWE Friday Night SmackDown is coming home to San Antonio, December 3rd at AT&T Center. You'll see Universal Champion Roman Reigns,
The head of the table,
as he joins SmackDown Tag Team Champions The Usos to face Finn Balor.
You want to come at Finn, you better not miss.
And the Street Profits.
We want the smoke!
Plus many more in action. Tickets start at $20. Available now at Ticketmaster.
The best seat in the house is on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Man, we've been talking about so much good football today. Just talked with UTSA head coach Jeff Traylor and UIW coach Eric Morris as the Cardinals are about to host Stephen F. Austin in a playoff game. The Roadrunners working on an undefeated season. We've done everything we can to avoid talking about the Cowboys and that crap show they put on yesterday. But as I put on the rundown good football to talk about, I certainly did not expect the Houston Texans to be a part of that. And, you know, we talk to Clint Stoerner every week, and most of the time it's about anything but the Texans because they don't play good football. But yesterday they did. Clint, my man, what happened to the Texans?
Well, I mean, look, they proved yesterday that you can win, that you need to win the turnover battle 5-0 in order to win a game and hang on to a game down the stretch. I mean, look, David Culley has been preaching turnovers and penalties for months now, and he proved yesterday just how valuable winning the turnover battle 5-0 is. You can go out there and you can literally not make one play offensively on script, right? The only two plays that were made offensively were Tyrod Taylor, and they were off schedule, off script, outside the pocket, busted plays where he's out there just scrambling around with his legs. He scored 2 touchdowns, and they end up winning that ball game somehow, some way. But Lovie Smith defense, man, they bowed their neck time and time again because they got zero help from the offense. But it was a win, and it was much needed in Houston, brother.
Let me ask you, much needed. Now, my producer, James Pledger, is the biggest Houston Texans fan I know. At the same time, he was angry that they won. They can't even lose right, he said. They were gaining ground on Detroit, and they go and screw it up by beating Tennessee, which I think is a piss-poor attitude to have. But how nice was it? Or how did other Houston fans respond on your show about getting a W?
Well, look, it's funny when they're 2-8, or 1-8, they finally get a win. We don't get a whole lot of phone calls. We're at that point where we get most of our phone calls. I mean, we just get flooded when they're getting their tail kicked, and it's an embarrassment. But look, James isn't wrong. I mean, I think there is a huge chunk of the Houston Texans fan base that want them to lose every football game so they get the number 1 overall pick. I just personally, I feel like that I understand the math behind that, if you will. I get it. But for me personally, Jay, there's no draft pick difference between 1 and 3 or 2 and 4, in my opinion, that is more valuable than what you can do negatively to your organization if you purposely go out there and lose ball games. Right. And I know there's not teams that purposely go out there and in the moment call a play so that it doesn't work. The front office is doing everything they can in Houston to get the highest draft pick that they can possibly get and have the most draft picks that they can possibly have in future drafts. There's no doubt about that. But I believe if it gets to a point where the coaches go out there and they're coaching, game planning and coaching and calling plays to ultimately lose ball games, I believe that negative impact on an organization far outweighs the difference between the second pick and the fourth pick, or the first pick and the third pick in a draft. So I understand the math. I've been in a bad locker room, brother. It's not staying steady. You're either getting worse, a lot worse, or you're getting better. And this organization is getting worse with every loss. So I'm happy to see them win a ball game.
I am too, and I just think, a lot of times for the psyche of a team, you win, you come to work today, you feel pretty good. But as James Pledger points out to me right now in a message, they're all on 1-year deals. Are you really worried about their long-term psyche?
Yeah, it's a good point. No, I'm not. I'm not at all. But I am. Interested in. I think there are some very basic, fundamental principles, if you will, of building an organization. And I don't think this coaching staff's going to be here. I don't think any of them are going to be here. I don't think, and I mean that in a sense down the road when they if and when they are competitive 3 years from now. I bet 75 to 80% of this locker room is not here 3 years from now. I don't doubt that, but I do believe that as the transition takes place from coach to coach, from player to player, I do believe that you can have an organization that is a physical organization. Guys, they're accountable. They're guys that you can trust. They play the game with an unbelievable amount of physicality and discipline and things of that nature. And I just believe when you're tanking, quote unquote tanking, and that bleeds into your locker room, you're not setting the standards in those areas. And 2 or 3 years of not being physical and of not being disciplined, of not doing things right off the field, taking care of your body, working out when you're hurt, being in the training room on time. If you're not able to do those things, your organization as a whole is getting worse. And so while I agree there's going to be a ton of turnover, I just think that standard, that foundation, if you will, that call it a culture if you want to, I do believe at the very fundamental levels it's important to set the standard, and I just don't think you can do that if you're losing games on purpose.
Clint Stoerner from Sports Radio 610 in Houston joining us here on the Blitz. We've also played quarterback for the Cowboys and the Arkansas Razorbacks. So, Clint, can they make it 2 in a row? Can they beat the Jets?
Yeah, I think they can. They've got a chance to beat the Jets because their defense is playing really, really good football, and the Jets have probably a young quarterback starting. And I think Lovie Smith, his defense bodes well against young quarterbacks, I believe. So yeah, they could make it. They could make it 2 in a row. I just think they've got major concerns offensively, and if the defense isn't going, literally, Jason, the Texans defense gave them a possession on the Tennessee 15-yard line, 1st and 10 from the 15-yard line, 1st and goal from the 6-yard line. And the special teams gave them a possession, I think 1st and goal from the 4, if I remember correctly. I mean, they're not going to get that from the Jets more than likely. So can they win a ball game? Yeah, they can win another ball game, but they've got to fix things offensively. They are criminally bad offensively. And you know what? Since James said that, talking about how they may be trying to lose ball games, there's some things on the offensive side of the football, even some things the coaches say that you go, man, I don't know if they're not trying to lose ball games offensively. So can they win another game? Yeah, but I don't know if it happens.
Good stuff. Clint, when you look around the NFL at some of the things that have gone on the last couple of weeks, and I know the NFL wants parity, but I mean, I don't know how to explain the Cowboys in 2 of the last 3 weeks. I don't know how to explain the Buffalo Bills losing to Jacksonville and then getting blown out by the Colts yesterday. When you look at some of the games that we've seen, Tennessee losing to Houston, do you like the parity that we're seeing in the NFL?
Oh, I love parity. The more that we get, the more interesting the playoffs are going to be top to bottom. So yeah, I mean, look, I don't want the Washington football team with all the issues they had last year making it in the playoffs. I just don't. I don't want to watch that in the first round of the playoffs. I mean, it was a good football. It ended up being a good football game, but that's not what I want to see. I want to see the wild card teams be at least in a sexy matchup, if you will, coming in. So yeah, look, I love the parity. I don't know how much of it, though, truth be told, is legit parity, though, Jay. I mean, I think, you look at what's going on in Tennessee. The Tennessee Titans had their 3 biggest playmakers injured. They had 3 linebackers out. They had an offensive lineman they were missing. One of their starting tight ends, or one of their top 2 tight ends, was out. I mean, they were missing and then the weather got bad all of a sudden. So I mean, it was a mess for Tennessee. You look at the Cowboys, man. We've had this conversation with the Cowboys, and it's so frustrating to me. The willingness to get away from the run game without the opponent forcing you to do so. The inability to overcome some injuries. Yeah, they had some injuries, no question about it. But to go out there and lose to Kansas City is one thing. To lose to Kansas City scoring 9 points when you're that football team is a problem. That's indicative of bigger problems than just injuries, right? I mean, so I don't know, man. I look at this Cowboys football team and I go, man, are they teasing me again? Is this one of those where, boy, it's a fireworks show and it's sexy as hell and it's fun to go to games, it's fun to watch, but then it comes playoff times and they just squeak in and they give you some uninspired performance in the first round again? or are we going to get the very talented, dominant football team that we've seen from time to time? Man, it's up in the air for me, and I think it's hard. It's hard to make the case right now, Jason, that they're the team that we thought they were 3 weeks ago after the Broncos game and the Chiefs game. It's hard for me and you to sit here and go, yeah, man, they're one of the best teams in the NFC. It's hard for me to have that conversation right now.
I'm with you, but I look at Green Bay. I look at, everybody not named Arizona has had weird games, and Arizona's able to win with Colt McCoy. At what point as an athlete, and you're not just an athlete, you are a professional NFL quarterback, big-time college quarterback. At what point when you talk about injuries and this and that, reasons or excuses, and what's the difference?
Well, I mean, I believe if you are, in order to be a top college football team or a top NFL team, I believe that you've got to be able to overcome injuries throughout a 17-game season or a 13-game, 14-game season in college. I don't believe that you can pick and choose when you want to show up. And I believe that, and that is who the Cowboys have been over the last few years, is a team that picks and chooses when they want to show up. And you and I as fans, we don't know who the hell they are on any given Sunday when they do show up. I think those are excuses. Like right now with the Cowboys, I think yesterday it is a major excuse to say, well, we didn't have our guys. Look, just because you don't go into every single football game that you play, on paper, by far the most talented team on the field that day, doesn't give you an excuse to not go win ball games. Did they have injuries? Yeah. But that's an excuse if that's why you say, well, they went out there and scored 9 points. No, they messed the bed against a defense that hasn't been very good throughout the season, and an offense that is as explosive as anybody out there, but scored 19 points. You missed an opportunity. And if you blame it on injuries, I think it's an excuse. And so, we can split hairs on what's an excuse and what's a reason for something. But I with the Cowboys, I think there's a lot of excuses, man. You can't be that talented, that deep, and then have a few injuries and not be able to piss a drop. That, to me, that's an excuse.
Fair enough. Clint, we're up against the time all, but I got to ask how you're feeling today. I saw on Twitter that you actually ran the Running of the Bulls, which I believe is a 5K that the Houston Texans do. And you ran it. The video of you crossing that finish line, you doing all right today, man?
Man, I'm good, baby. I prepped for it. I'm a little top heavy, so it's a little more difficult on them legs than it should be. But we made it, man. We got through it, and hey, we honored and supported our military on a Sunday morning before the Texans won a damn game, man. So I can deal with a little soreness for that, brother.
I hear you there. And look, I would have walked more than I ran for a thing like that, but I'm with you on that. I just saw the picture you posted before the race, and I saw the picture after. I just want to make sure you're doing all right, man.
You ought to see some of them in between there. I saved them for my eyes only.
Fair enough. Clint Stoerner, have a great Thanksgiving. We'll visit next week.
You got it, brother. Y'all take care.
Appreciate it. Clint Stoerner, former Cowboy quarterback. He's on radio down in Houston, all around good dude. And yeah, go look at his Twitter. You'll know what I'm talking about. He was all happy at the beginning of that race. After the race, he went hard throughout the race and realized he's got to get to the finish line. That's what it's about. We're almost at the finish line. But before we get there, you're shopping for a new vehicle, especially this week. It's a huge week in the car business. Go over and see my friends at Ancira Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram Truck, part of the Ancira I-10 Auto Complex. You know, it is very easy for me to tell you about and recommend Ancira because I am a longtime Ancira customer, and it's because of their great customer service before, during, and most importantly, after the sale. That great customer service is why Ancira has been a top family-run dealership in San Antonio for decades. They're going to make sure you're getting the vehicle you want with the options and features that you're looking for. They will give you great value on your trade-in, the best rebates and financing options that are available. And you know price made Ancira number one. Price keeps Ancira number one. So think Ancira. Ancira Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram Truck, part of the Ancira Itinado complex on I-10 West between Wurzbach and Huebner.
This Thanksgiving, we're serving up Cowboys and Raiders. Get the pad-pounding action starting Thursday at 3:30. Presented by AA Best Bail Bonds and Ewald Kubota, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
If your spouse's search history includes single and ready to mingle, you may want to reboot your situation. Call DivorceDude.com at 210-201-0303 and ask for Mark, the Divorce Dude, with Polling Law PLLC. DivorceDude.com can help you get a fast, affordable, agreed divorce. But if you want to fight, the Divorce Dude can fight for you. DivorceDude.com gives you easy legal options and sticks with you every step of the way. If the marriage is over, why fight? DivorceDude.com.
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get access. Well, not anymore, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide, with plans starting at just $35 a month and no contract. Plus, get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for $299, all on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, less money. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
I'm officially sick of junk mail, emails, and ads about Medicare. Why are they suddenly bombarding us with this stuff?
Because it's open enrollment. We could get more benefits.
Clear up your Medicare confusion with simple, easy answers at easymedicare.com. That's the letter E, the letter Z, Medicare.com. Annual enrollment is now through December 7th. Go to easymedicare.com or speak with a licensed agent at 1-888-486-1662. easymedicare.com. We make choosing a Medicare plan easy.
Speak with a licensed insurance agent or visit easymedicare.com Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. EST, Saturday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. EST. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS, has neither reviewed nor approved this information with regard to the federal Medicare program. easymedicare.com is powered by eTelequote Insurance Inc., a private duly licensed insurance agency appointed by Medicare Advantage, HMO, PPO, and PFFS plans and standalone prescription drug plans and insurance companies holding Medicare contracts approved by CMS. Enrollment in any plan for coverage is subject to insurance company approval. This information is not a complete description of benefits. Contact the plan for more information. Limitations, co-payments, and restrictions may apply. Benefits, premiums, and/or member cost share may change on January 1 of each year. You must continue paying your Medicare Part B premium.
Want to make this the most unforgettable Christmas? Diamonds Direct is here to help with our most dazzling selection ever and 4 years zero interest financing. Diamonds Direct showcases are fully stocked with the classics, as well as the latest trendy fashion jewelry from world-class designers. You'll get the unbeatable value price Diamonds Direct is known for. Plus, spread your payments over 4 years, 48 whole months with zero interest. Get holiday store hours, directions, finance details, and see our online gift guide at diamondsdirect.com. On approved credit.
Hi, welcome to Smoky Moe's.
At Smoky Moe's Barbecue, we smoke our meats fresh, in-house, each and every day. We think it makes all the difference in the quality of our moist, flavorful brisket and turkey, and the mouth-watering tenderness of our ribs and pork loin. Got a crowd? We've got group packs and full-service catering. Up early? We've got made-to-order breakfast tacos. Find your store at SmokyMoe'sBarbecue.com and come see us for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Smoky Moe's Barbecue. The pit is lit.
It's heart-stopping, rim-wrecking, ball-arching action.
Ball three, got it!
College hoops are happening, and we've got the action and excitement you love. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
This is Max Kellerman on San Antonio's Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Got Monday Night Football coming up, the Giants and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You also have the Spurs on tonight. Spurs have lost 4 in a row. They're playing a Phoenix Suns team that has won 12 in a row. Pick wisely. That's it for us, man. We will talk to you a week from today. I'm on Thanksgiving break, although I'm doing halftime tomorrow from noon to 2, so I'll talk to you then, but no Blitz for the rest of the week.
Happy Christmas.
Rapping with Jack, Benefiting Family Service Association is happening now through December 4th, benefiting the most needy families this holiday season.